If you like the story, you can support the author on Patreon. Link is in the description.
Chapter 21, Armoros. So, I'm testing out the schedule option. My friend kinda yelled/roasted me. He basically entered drill sergeant mode. Are you serious about writing maggot? Why aren't you releasing chaps at the best possible moment? He ranted for a while. And all I could imagine was army slangs, and I laughed at his face. Told him why I was laughing. He started to laugh as well. So yeah, let's see how this works out. Drop some stones if you like the FIC. I can't believe my luck to think one of my targets would just show up right in front of me. We are pretty much on the same level. Low ultimate class just by the amount of holy and demonic energy we both have respectively. Now I could just go into balance breaker and rip him apart. But those with more than one concept. It requires me to enter balance breaker. For example, the Zanpakuto swords. They are at least 2 concepts at the minimum. Like Zangetsu for example. The ability to shoot out your own power in flying slashes. And the boost that Shikai and Bankai give out. The boost naturally drains a lot of power and stamina. But I managed to recreate it since it already exists. Finding a priest with a twice critical was useful. It doubles the user's power. Shikai gives a small boost in power. From 2 to 3 times. Bankai multiplier 5-10x Shikai. Bleach Zanpakuto are weird. Some boost physical strength and Ritsu. Others boost the ability of the Zanpakuto. Ichigo and Byakuya for example. But this is a good opportunity to test my strength against an opponent on the same level. I'll just stick to tier 1 swords. Basic sword birth creations along with a few special ones even in tier 1 selection. Actually, I have the perfect weapons in mind. Gravity Blade, UQ Holder, a sword that can manipulate its own weight. It was actually one of the first swords I created. It's an excellent sword for training. I will use it along with its Zanpakuto cousin. As an angel directly under the holy flame Uriel. Armoros was well versed in combat. He could make many holy weapons and used holy fire. But his holy fire was a bit weak. Uriel might have taught them. But they could never reach his level. Uriel was given holy fire just as Barakiel was given holy lighting. Only people from their bloodline can use the powers to their full potential. Anything other than that is a cheap imitation. So what is one of the commanders serving directly under Uriel doing in a dump like this? Did you get your ass demoted or something? I say in a mocking tone. Let's see if he can be riled up. Armoros just smiles hardly. I really was in the area. But enough about that little devil. It's time for you to receive holy judgment. Repent in purgatory. He spread his wings. 4 pairs or 8 wings. Showing his status as an ultimate class. Has never been confirmed where devils and fallen go when they die. Repent in purgatory. Someone sure is confident in himself. I mock him as I start creating my sword. But of course. How could an agent of God like me die to the scum of the earth like you? A being who thrives by committing sin. Armoros says calmly. Well, he is not wrong about the last part. He flapped his wings appearing near me. He had a yellow golden aura around him. And a light spear in both hands. I released my power as well. Toki and demonic energy covered me. Increasing my overall strength, speed, and defense. My sword was set to the lowest possible weight, which is 2 kilograms, and quickly used to parry one of his swords. Just before the moment of impact, I changed the weight of the sword to X1000. That's 2 tons. And I used it to press down on his spear. Bang! The weight of the sword pushed his spear down along with his arm since he had a strong grip on it. This put him off balance. What? He couldn't even use his other spear because of the weird position he was in. I quickly changed the sword back to normal before raising it above my head and changing the weight again X10000. 20 tones. And I swung down. The weight of the sword increased its speed as well, but it only worked for vertical attacks. Armoros' eyes widened when he saw how fast the blade was approaching. He quickly threw his swords away and jumped back. He even gathered holy energy on his plans to blast himself backward. But I wasn't about to let him leave unharmed. Since his torso was out of the way, I moved my sword and aimed at his forearm. My blade cut him, but it wasn't even halfway through. I barely reached the bone. Your sword. It's capable of changing its weight, Armoros says as he put his hand on his forearm. He started healing his wound with holy light. That's a bit annoying. Correct, maybe I should start using some subtle tricks. One mistake is enough to kill somebody in fights of our level. Armorouse healed his arm and created another spear. But this time he threw it. Tisk. So he is changing to long range. I waved my hand and magic circles started appearing with my crest on them. It was a classic European sword with wings on it. The Sword of Freedom. It's a crest that I personally created with my understanding of magic. It's not very efficient yet. Clans have been improving theirs for generations. But I'll slowly improve the efficiency. It will work for now. I started throwing elemental spells at him. He dodged and sent a volley of light spears at me. Damn it, I was hoping to use the gravity blade on him. But looks like I'm going to have to scratch that plan. Okay then. The mean older cousin it is. I raise the gravity blade upwards. Time to wake up, buddy. This is only possible because they share a similar concept. I did this because in high-level battles they won't allow me to make another sword. I could have made a new one here. But it's better to test these things out first. Raise your head. Wabisuk. Not a balance breaker, only one concept. The gravity blade started to change. The tip starts to grow. Wabisuk's blade makes two 90-degree angles, forming three sides of a square, reminiscent of a hook, and has its cutting edge on the inside of the angles. Wabisuk doubles the weight of any object it strikes. The ability can affect both inanimate objects and living beings, and it's stackable. What do you plan to cut with such a silly sword? Its cutting edge is on the inside. He mocks me from a distance. You will see. We continued our long-range fight while I was looking for an opportunity to close the distance. I slowly prepared an earth spike and have been guiding him in that position. So I can sneak attack him from behind. 3.2.1. Now. The earth spike rose from behind, grabbing his attention. He raised a wing to block it. As he was distracted for a split second, I enhanced my strength using Toki and Mana and jumped at him. Cracking the ground behind me. I avoided hitting his light swords. I don't think they weigh anything. So hitting them is probably useless. I used the hook and put his elbow in it. I cut him 4 times by shaking the sword, piercing him with the inverted blade. He then quickly pushed me off, while lifting his arm up and down, trying to get rid of the discomfort. A regular human arm weighs about 5 to 6 kilograms. My every strike doubles the previous weight. So 6 times 2 is 12. Double it again, 24. In total his arm now weighs 96 kilograms. Now a 100 kilograms is nothing to us to lift. But we are in battle. He won't be able to use his arm as well and it will keep throwing him off balance. What have you done to me? Armorouse yells out in a cold tone. But he was still calm. Guess it isn't that easy to make them fall from wrath. I increased the weight of your arm. How does it feel to carry an extra 100 kilograms? It's uncomfortable, right? As I say that, I dashed toward him, not giving him any time to make countermeasures. He kept blocking my strikes with his light spears. As I suspected, Wabisuk has no effect on them. But thanks to his arm and me constantly trying to put him off balance, I was able to make small hits. Each hit doubled the weight on that body part. I hit him a few times on the wings and once on the torso. The weight started to add up and he started to slow down. I kept abusing magic as well, putting him in an even worse spot. Fight like a man, he yelled out at me. Yeah, right. Like I'm going to fall for that. I kept fighting and started to focus more on his wings. He stumbled because his left side was suddenly a lot heavier and I took that opportunity. I slashed at his wings multiple times. His wings, now weighing a few tons, dragged his body down, making him kneel. I quickly used magic to pin him in place, and stop anything else he might do. He started trashing around, trying to escape. Do you know why this blade is called Wabisuk? Because when I'm done, my opponent will be kneeling down on the ground, like you right now. Hence Wabisuk, to apologize/repent. Looks like you are doing the repenting. Ugh, Armorouse tried to stand up, but his wings were weighing him down too much. Earlier, you asked what can I cut with such a silly sword. I put the hook end of the blade on his neck. Wait. A warrior should never beg for his life. I pull back. And like a reverse guillotine, he was beheaded. I wonder if holy eraser was meant to well erase holy light. I wonder if I could weak it to absorb it. That way I don't have to go and steal holy element from churches. Let's try it. Sword birth. A blade started to form. The entire sword was almost pitch black. There was a golden script along the blade's spine. On the guard, there were 2 protruding fangs. They also had golden decorations. https://static.wikia.nokoaki.net/supernatural-fanon/images/8/81/akli.jpg/revision/latest, CB equals 20180629175255. I grab the sword and stab the decapitated corpse in the chest. The golden script lit up as the sword started to absorb the remaining holy energy left. In a few minutes, the body was entirely drained. I could feel the energy coursing through me. Usually, when devils are exposed to holy energy, it acts like poison to them. But since I originally had some holy energy inside me, and all the crystals I used from that I found in the caches I raided, it doesn't do anything to me. Just like when Zenobia was turned into a devil, she could still wield Durandal and other holy swords. If I continue to take holy energy from angels, will I become an evil harem? I don't think such a thing exists in this universe. I look at the roughed up terrain and the broken down church. Since our battle left a lot of magical traces, I'll need to torch this entire place and not just the church. Balance breaker. Reduce all creation to ashes. Ryujin Jaka. Originally this sword wouldn't be a tier 2. Since it only has the concept of fire. This Zanpakuto only has a Shikai. Just like many of my other swords. Making a Bankai for this sword is hard. I'm sure I will complete it eventually. But that day is in the distant future. That's why it's a tier 2 sword. I'm constantly trying to evolve it. It has a second and third concept, which is boost and erase. But I'm not doing it right and the Bankai doesn't even form. I even changed the concept that I'm focusing on, hoping to get it right. I'm still in the alpha stage of the process, so the OP Bankai is left for the future. I wave my sword and a large wave of fire engulfs everything around me. Time to go back home. I did enough for today. I bring out my teleport sword and disappear in a flash. Number. Time skip next chap. Chapter 22, Second Year. As time passes, days turn into weeks. And weeks turn into months. And I began my second year at Kua Academy. The start of the plot was nearing. I have done all that I can. I trained to the ground like a maniac. The grind never stopped. Of course, I had some fun during my testing days. What's the point of living if you don't enjoy life? After 9 years of training, I reached mid-ultimate class. With my balance breaker and drive, I have a high chance of surviving the future. Of course, I will never stop trying to get stronger. Only when I am the absolute strongest, then I can take a break. Issei has begun to show a slight dragon aura. As my strength is a lot higher than the rest, I noticed it right away. Which means that the fallen will soon arrive in Kua. And Issei is still a pervert. Even under the constant detentions and punishment, our homeroom teacher gave him. The force is strong with this one. His and his 2 Neanderthal buddies still peek at the girl clubs. And they get beat to a pulp every time. I'm starting to wonder if they are hidden masochists. 2 weeks later. Orc building. All of us were in the lobby. This time for a real meeting. Good, everyone's here. Rias nodded as she sat in her throne with her elbows on her desk. I was sitting in the sofa. Akeno was making tea. Konako was stuffing herself with sweets, and Hacker Brando, who was still wearing the Dio Brando mask, was just a face on a laptop screen. I assume everyone's noticed the 2 students who are releasing the slight dragon aura. She asks to confirm. Slight my sexy ass. It was slight 2 weeks ago. Might as well be a beacon now with how noticeable it is. Everyone nods. Good, I'm planning on recruiting one of them. So we will be getting a new family member. Rias smiles confidently. Yay, I'm so happy I could burst with joy. Sana will be arriving here soon with her peerage. Knock. Knock. Speak of the devil. Badam TSS. Puns. Never fail to make life more entertaining. Come in, Sana, Rias says happily. The door opens, showing Sana and Co as they enter the lobby. She got a few more members over the course of these last few months. Her bombshell queen Tsubaki Shinra. She smiled a bit when she saw me. She still has a major crush on me. Her bishops Momo Hanakai and Raya Kusaka. Momo, young beautiful girl with white hair and blue-green eyes. Again small crush on me. She has known about the Satrai clan since her childhood, mainly due to her father having a high post in a certain company that is affiliated with the Satrai clan. Rhea is a slim girl with long brown hair that ends in 2 short braids and matching eyes. She also has a small crush on me. Her grandmother was a witch, so she had some magical knowledge before she became a devil. How do I know this? I just have to ask and flirt a bit. Being handsome has its perks. Tomo Meguri, Sana's knight. She has shoulder-length, reddish-brown hair and twin tails and brown eyes. She is from Meguri clan who mainly exorcised demons for a living. They use spirit swords and their unique sword style to do so. A yokai with a grudge cursed the family, and Tomo's soul was cursed since the day she was born in Sana, while the Satrai family saved her. Tsubasa Yura, Sana's rook. She is a tall girl with blue, shoulder-length hair and matching eyes. She is a bit of a tomboy. She could see spirits and demons from a young age and used martial arts to fight them. She also has a fetish for sweaty/dirty men after a fight or training session. I noticed she was stalking me when I trained. Physically. Honestly, most of her peerage has a crush on me. I mean, why wouldn't they? I'm probably the most handsome guy in this entire school. And they are teenagers. Ruriko Nimura, she is the girl who will become madly in love with Saji. She is a short girl with brown hair and long twin ponytails and green eyes. She is the only one who doesn't have a crush on me. She thinks I'm cute. But that's about it. Devils forget. The stronger you are, the sharper the senses. I could pick up on their gossiping a mile away. I was surprised about that. I'm not going to lie. Teenage girls in this world are pretty simple-minded. Even Sana has a small crush on me, but that's because of my drive and dedication to training. She wants to build a school for low-class devils. So they can get educated, get stronger and lead better lives. So a reincarnated devil like me working so hard must tick a few marks for her in some way. Good evening, Rias. I assume you called me to talk about our 2 second years. 2 sacred gears appearing at the same time is rare. And has caused us a slight problem, Sana says in a businesslike manner. Rias nodded. Our deal was that if a sacred gear holder appeared we would compete for him. Even though Sana is her friend. They are still devils. Sana has dreams of her own. And to accomplish them, a strong peerage is needed to win a high ranking in the rating games. People will take her more seriously if she has a higher ranking. And there are 2 sacred gear holders now. Issei Hayado and Saji Gen Shiro. So how do you want to do this? Sana raises an eyebrow. I have always found Sana more attractive than Rias as a person. Sure, Rias is sex on legs and would be a great one-night stand. But Sana's overall feel, her cold calculating personality attracts me more. Even though she has quite a bit of anxiety about her body shape. I mean, growing up with Rias, Akeno, Tsubaki, and Sirafal did a hit on her confidence. She hides it well though. Well, not like I'd date any of them. They are not worth the trouble. Rias starts to get a bit nervous. Well, I was hoping to have first dibs at Hayado. It would help me out with my problem. Sana just deadpans before signing. Really, Rias? The pity card? I'm your childhood friend and you are going to play it on me. Rias just smiles wryly. Fine, Sana sighed it out, but you will owe me one for this. I let you have the one with the stronger aura. And with this, Rias's master plan to get Issei in her peerage begins. Which is basically letting him almost die. Like me. Get over there. Save his life. Make him feel grateful. Get yourself a new slave. Not like she needed all of this. She could have just said that she would let him touch her boobs and Issei would willingly give up his humanity. He would probably do it in a heartbeat. I somewhat pity Drake. To end up in such a pathetic host. The Red Dragon Emperor. The Dragon of Domination. Reduced to the Breast Dragon Emperor. Frankly, I would just commit suicide at that point. Number A/N. MC will not take the boosted gear. It's explained later in the FIC. Just stopping the comments right now, XD. As many of you guys have noticed. Yes, I haven't read the light novels. I mostly write from what I remember about the anime. Now for the big question. Why don't you just read them? I don't have the time. I'm either at work or at home writing or just doing shit. I have other DxD FICs lined up. I will hopefully read the LN and try to make it more similar to LN. But it depends on the FIC. Like DxD Necro is definitely gonna be in the vision I have for it. The whole point of a fanfic is to get a different experience and viewpoint of the world. Why do you think Harry Potter FICs are so well liked? HP is intended for teens. Some fanfics just go all out on the realism and it turned out more for young adults. That and fanfics add more content to the HP world. I honestly don't even really like the original plot of HP anymore XD. But I'm a huge fan of the world. Chapter 23, Devil Issei. Well, it happened. After Konako stalked the pervert for a few days. Rainare, aka Amano Yama, aka bitch with crow wings, asked him out on a date. And of course, being the moron he is, he accepts. I mean, he should be smarter than that. A beautiful girl comes up to him, who is a loser. There's no other way to say it, and asked him out on a date. Cool. He has no idea who she is. He has never seen her before. He doesn't even expect that it's some sort of prank or trap. Frankly, he deserved to die. I don't mean about him being a pervert. I mean about his stupidity. Not just him but people without self-preservation skills in general. I mean that's like walking in gang territory at night alone and after that, you are wondering why you are bleeding to death and what you did to deserve it. And this is my honest opinion currently. I have a healthy dose of paranoia. I really don't trust anything or anyone. Except for people that I can count on one hand that have stuck with me for years. So he goes on a date. I feel a bit bad because he really tried to make the date work. Which totally conflicts with his overall personality and thoughts. So the first girl he opened his heart to literally stabbed him in the gut. No wonder he got traumatized. But what bothers me that he wasn't traumatized enough to stop for a second before chasing after another pair of boobs. Like you had a traumatic near-death experience. And learned absolutely nothing from it. Trenchcoat Fallen attacked him yesterday. Rias probably healed him this morning. While being naked, of course. Because devil logic. In all the years that they have been alive as a race, devils still haven't figured out other good healing methods except for phoenix tears. Now Rias wants me to go and get him. Since I'm in the same class as him, I sigh out and go. Even I can't really complain. It's completely logical for me to go and get him. Yo pervert, Rias Gremory is asking for you. I say as lazily as possible, showing that I'm not happy about this. HAAA. How do you know Rias senpai, pretty boy? He points his finger at me. I slap his head, making him hit his desk. Look, I don't give a shit about what she wants with you. She asked for you and I'm delivering you to her. Whether you will be conscious or not is going to be up to you. I say this mostly to stop any stupid BL dujins. And if I do see some, I'm killing that student. I don't give a damn. Conscious, please. That way I get to see Rias senpai's glorious oppai. I raised his hand up in the air and yelled out. I can feel my brain cells committing suicide just by being in his presence. We arrive in the orc. Issei was looking around. I can't blame him for that. He was just an ordinary human a few days ago. Now he steps in an old building. Only to find it luxuriously decorated on the inside. When we arrive in the lobby, Konako was already there munching on sweets. That's Tajao Konako-chan, Issei blurs out. Konako turned to him with a slight glare for calling her Chan. Sigh, of course this pervert knew about her. Good evening, Issei says awkwardly. Konako stops the glare, gives a slight nod and returns to her sweets. Then the pervert starts daydreaming about her. Man, I'm glad I forgot most of the useless things related to him. Well, I didn't forget. I didn't want any unnecessary memories in my head, so I erased them. Issei suddenly turned to the right. He finally noticed the shower. Where Rias was doing her stupid tactic. Well, except it's extremely effective on the type of people like this moron. He was practically drooling while looking at the shower. Even though he saw Rias naked this morning. Sigh. He is an embarrassment to all men across the globe. Bucku. I brought your clothes. Thanks, Akeno, Rias says from the shower. Rias senpai. I knew it. What a fantastic clubroom this is. Issei started going to Lalabu Bland. I need alcohol. And lots of it if I want to remain sane after tonight. What a creepy face. Konako's soft voice broke Issei out of it. I go sit down on the sofa opposite of the one Konako was sitting on. Just in time for Akeno to arrive. Era, uf, she giggled slightly. Damn, I don't know if she does them on purpose or not. But those verbal tics are very annoying. Akeno walks right until she is in front of Issei. You are the new club member, right? She proceeded to give him a bow. Pleased to meet you. I am the club's vice president Jima Akeno. She then rose up and Issei's eyes zoomed in on her boobs as they bounced. Pleased to meet your acquaintance. Uf. Subtle Akeno. Real subtle. I have seen dragons with more subtlety than that. I am Hyudo Issei. Nice to meet you too. He scratched the back of his head. He started to daydream about her now. Steam came out of his nose as he fist pumped. What a wonderful club. Sorry for the wait. Rias came out of the shower fully clothed. She was drying her hair. With a towel. Magic anyone? I spent the night at your place so I had to take a shower. No. I don't mind at all, Issei said awkwardly. Well, everyone's here now. Rias said with a smile. No, we are not. Hacker Brando. Whyy. Why did you leave me alone with these people? We welcome you to the Occult Research Club. But the club is nothing more than a facade. Nothing more than a mere hobby. Rias explains. Hey. What do you mean? Issei asked. He was very confused about the whole situation. That much was obvious. I'll be frank. We are all devils, Rias says with a straight face. Really? I know this is the only piece that she got by herself. Even if the means were underhanded. But really? You're just going to lay it on him. No supernatural history. No sales pitch. Like, haven't you ever thought that something seemed off? An incident or a person that you met on the street? Actually, that's a good one. Gotta write that one down. That was indeed very frank, Issei said with a small laugh. But he was still acting very respectfully. At least when he was speaking. The black-winged man you saw yesterday. That was a fallen angel. Issei's eyes widened. Once angels serving God, they have been cast down to the underworld due to their wicked nature. Now you start the history lesson. Right after you delivered the shocking news. Rias kept explaining, but I saw it on Issei's face. He doesn't have a clue what she is talking about. You know, I take it back. He is too stupid to be shocked about all of this. I did not bother to listen to this conversation. I continued to create sword blueprints in my head. While keeping a small part of my attention on the conversation. Then Rias brought up Amano Yuuma. Issei got defensive. Treating the whole date and him dying as a bad dream. Then Rias gives him a photo of himself and Yuma on their date. Nice. Show the dude evidence that you have been stalking him. And that you knew he was going to die. She then explained that Yuma wiped her existence out of everyone's mind. Well, anyone who actually saw her. She proceeded to explain Yuuma's mission. Then about sacred gears. Which the pervert was now trying to awaken. Focus, Issei, Rias said. Oh, he is focusing all right. Just on your panties, instead on his gear. After a few seconds he gave up. It's okay. We will take it slow, Rias says calmly. Even though that wasn't the case. We then reveal our wings to him. Rias explains the contract system. Tempts him with the dream of becoming a harem king. And this is the guy who becomes one of the strongest people in this world. Unbelievable. Number A/N. Okay, a lot of people are getting confused over the ultimate class stuff. Me included. So this is how I see it. Correct me if you have a better way. Ultimate low. Mid. High equals ultimate low. Satan low. Satan high. Since everything in the ultimate ass varies a lot. It's hard to determine who's where. I think I fucked up the power level explanation. I'll fix it. This is for the base stats. Boosts like Issei and MC don't count. Like Issei can boost and shoot out Q high class attacks. Doesn't change the fact that he is still low class in terms of power. MC was ultimate low. He increased his strength to push Tiamat. Now he is ultimate mid. So Satan class, which doesn't exist. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm getting confused. XD. Chapter 24, Asia Argento. The days go by and Issei tries to complete his contracts by arriving via bicycle. I mean, how pathetic do your mana reserves have to be for you to not be able to even teleport? And that's just side teleportation. He ain't even the one casting the spell. Just giving it the bare minimum energy needed for him to make the jump with it. He gets attacked again by another fallen. Kala. Something. Whatever. The point is, plot is going fast. Asia is about to arrive at the city at any moment. This means Freed the Psycho will start killing our contract holders. Note to self. Protect the MILFs I have slept with and still sleep with. But I still can't kill Freed. I need him alive for when Kokabeel and Valper come. Then I can slowly butcher the psycho. But I'm still thinking about what to do about Asia. Twilight healing will be useful to my future plans. Healers/medics. Especially her type. That can heal any supernatural race. Are rare. There is no way the shy little girl first arrived in Kuaha is the bold girl who walks around in a naked apron to impress Issei. My current theory is the obedience seal and evil piece. Her personality did a 180. The little nun girl really died in that church. Sure, she still has her faith and her kindness. But that was just the major part of her entire being that the evil piece couldn't change. Everything else slowly started to change. I mean a vanilla nun. A girl who hasn't had a dirty thought in her entire life. Does a naked apron play to seduce a pervert? In a matter of days after being turned into a devil. Coincidence? Character development? A/N it's for the plot. Believe in the plot. Yet. I don't think so. I felt a blip on my ward swords. That I said around the city. Speak of the nun. Asia Argento has arrived. Well, let's go pick her up. Ow. How is this even possible? Did she trip on herself? I am currently watching a nun who was currently tangled up in her clothes. All while flashing me her panties. DxD nonsense. Here, let me help you. I announce my presence so she isn't startled. I helped her get up. She dusted herself off and bowed to me. Thank you for helping me. May God bless you for this kindness. I felt a small tingle. Hat. One of the first things I trained about was spamming God and his name. It hurt like hell. But you get used to the pain after a few weeks. I didn't do this so I don't flinch every time God is mentioned. I did it to counter the holy chants some exorcists use. I have heard stories about how Gabriel killed some low-class devils by singing certain paragraphs from the Bible. I give her a small smile. You are welcome. What's your name? Gabriel is actually one of the kindest angels. A real angel in every sense of the word. But devils are fair game, and to be honest I can see why she would kill devils. Since she can't act on the church, she goes after the devils. Less devils, means less evil in the world. My name is Asia Argento. What's yours? She tilts her head cutely. Isaiah, I say calmly, God's salvation. Oh, what a wonderful name. She claps her hands together. The church took a loss by giving her up. The church gathers faith to keep the system going. The one that God set up. Which is falling apart. Michel is doing all he can just so it's barely still working. That's why there are so many bugs. Balance breakers. The original Kiba's holy demonic sword is proof of that. I made it too. Kinda hard not to make such a useful sword. But it's meh in general compared to my other swords. If Asia reached a balance breaker while still in the church, she would have been a great asset. Thank you. So Asia, where are you going? I ask her casually. Oh, thank you, I'm going to join the church here, she says with excitement, but I can sense sadness as well. Asia, that church is broken down and abandoned. But I was told to go there, she whimpered as tears started to well in her eyes. Hey, don't worry about it. How about I show you around until your people contact you? This cheered her up a bit. Yes. I'd like that. So we went on a mini date. I took her all over Kuaha. Surprisingly, I had some fun as well. Maybe I should take out some girls on dates, instead of just going straight to sex. I mean, that will still happen later. But this is nice too. Then we arrived at the park where the boy was injured. Asia used her sacred gear to heal the kid. Asia, you have a sacred gear too. I say with fake excitement. Wait too. Asia tilts her head. Yep, I have a sacred gear too. Really? Asia jumped in excitement. Which one? I raise my hand and create a sword. Sword birth. It allows me to make all sorts of swords. For example, this one. This sword doesn't cut. Look. I slowly cut myself on the wrists. Only for the blade to phase through. Amazing. But isn't that a little counterintuitive? Asia tried to find the word. Nope, I can make all sorts of special swords. Even ones that show memories. Here, this is a memory of me making breakfast this morning. I make the blade shine. I infuse it with the memory and point it at Asia's hand. She looked at the blade for a few seconds, before cutting her palm on it. She has healing gear. Small injuries mean nothing to her. And I already showed her that this sword doesn't cut. Wow! It really does show memories. You are also a great cook. Asia's eyes were practically shining. Asia, I have a few memories to show you. They are secrets that many people want to keep hidden. But I believe it's in your best interests to know this. Well, if you think so, Isaiah. Then I don't mind seeing a few more memories. Asia smiled brightly. Good. Now, since there are a few more memories, you will need the sword to phase through your chest. You can pick where. Just as before, it's perfectly safe. I make the sword glow again, infusing the memories just as before. Having been through this, Asia wasn't really afraid at all. She walked straight into it and the blade phased through her chest. The moment the sword phased through, Asia's eyes rolled over and she fell unconscious. I quickly grabbed her before she fell to the ground. Well, for the time being I'll take her to one of my safe houses. Few hours later. Safe house in another city. Asia jumped out of the bed screaming. She was sweating heavily and was taking deep breaths. She turned to me and her eyes widened. Asia opened her mouth but didn't know what to say. Thank you. I think Asia bowed unsurely. You are welcome, I say with a smile. I didn't expect you to be a devil though. Or that a devil planned my death just so he can revive me in his nun harem. My poor sisters. They looked so broken and empty. Living such a life. I would prefer death. Asia lowers her head as a few tears fell. She has changed. But I still don't know how much. What do you think? Now that you know the truth. Let's see how she answers. Then I'll make my decision. The world is a lot worse than I ever knew. Humans are really treated as livestock. The church is corrupted and most members cause more sins than some devils. And the biggest human group that exists, besides the church, are morons. They call themselves heroes, when all they do is cause chaos for other races while sacrificing the weak members of their organization. Good. This is going well. Devils and fallen do what they want. Gods as well. Anyone with power always causes strife for others, doing whatever they want just because they can. In this world, it's everyone for themselves. Yep. I want her. This Asia I can work with. I give a slight smile at that, which she notices. I think you didn't broaden my horizon just for fun. You want something in return. What is it? Asia says bravely. She has no offensive capabilities. She knows I can do whatever I want with her. I want you on my team. Not the peerage I'm in now. I raise my hand to stop her from talking. She wasn't a nun anymore. But she also was stupid enough to close the gates of heaven for when she died. I will form a new team. Factions and race mean nothing to me. All I want is loyalty, I say seriously. What will be the goal of this group? Asia asked, unsure where this conversation is going. Freedom. I was a simple boy living in a church orphanage. The church took me and my friends, experimented on us and then killed us all with poison gas. I was the only one that escaped. But I was dying. The devils found me and reincarnated me into a devil. So instead of dying and joining my friends, I was turned into a slave. I will be free. And I will do whatever I want. I want to travel the world. See different places. Experience what life has to offer. But I can't do it alone. I hope my sob story works on her. What do you want from life, Asia? I ask gently. This will make or break the deal. Asia looked down, probably thinking of her life up until now. All I ever wanted was to help people and spread God's teachings. God has been dead for hundreds of years. The church helps but also harms people just as much. I don't want to be associated with a group like that. Today I have experienced so many different things. The food. The arcade. The shops. I want to keep doing that. How did you put it? Experience what life has to offer. I want that. I couldn't stop the grin on my face. I raised my hand. So what do you say, Asia Argento? The nun that was trapped in a cage. Will you join me? She took my hand and shook it. I accept your offer. She made up her mind. I hope you don't let me down. I won't let you down, and I truly mean it. She is one of mine now. On my team. If anyone tries to screw with us, We will burn them alive. Diodor is dead if he even comes anywhere close to her. Number A/N. Like work for MC in return for protection, kinda reminds me of Nico Robin and Crocodile IDKY. Since MC is the only real person she has met. He wants to use her. But at least he is upfront about it. Other always lied and cheated with fake smiles. Chapter 25, Falling Down. Fallen Church. What do you mean you can't find her? Rainier snaps at the silver-haired exorcist. Like I said. The stupid little bitch wasn't at the airport when I went to pick her up. I looked for her all over town and I couldn't find her. She was supposed to get here on her own if something happened. Considering that she isn't here. Something happened, Fried yelled at Rainier like the psychopath he was. Tisk. Fucking useless human. Rainier, I told you we should have gone to pick her up personally, Donnersteig snarled. Then why did you send me? Fried snarled back at him. I could be out there killing devil contracts. Know your place, worm. You are expendable. Don't forget that. Rainier looks at him coldly. Tisk. Fried put on his coat and exited the room. Well, what do we do now? Middlet asks while grooming her hair in front of the mirror. Asia Argento played a huge role in our plans. Now we don't have access to Twilight healing. Damn it. And I was so close to getting her power. Rainier smashed her fist in the wall. What are we going to do about that devil? The one that got her thrown out of the church in the first place. The deal was to leave her corpse so that he can resurrect her as a devil in his peerage. He will not be happy. Zeke started to pace. We have bigger problems to worry about than that devil. What are we going to report back to Lord Kokabeel? He was the one who sent us that nun. Middlet said Nervo-Ulzi. Just as Rainier was about to say something. Boom. 30 minutes earlier. Honestly. Manipulating Rias's child's play. We are on our way to invade the church. How it came to this is funny as hell. She didn't want to cause a political scene by killing the fallen and wanted them to leave so Issei doesn't find out the truth. I on the other hand want to kill them. I could have done it secretly and on my own. But where's the fun in that? So I decided to mess with Rias, so in the end we still attack them. I used her most recent weakness. The circumstances of Issei's death. She wanted the fallen gone. But what if he finds out later from another source? This became the main driving force for her. If she didn't silence them now, Issei could hear about this later on from someone the fallen told. I made sure to drop a lot of hints to the other members. Things like, this is her territory. Fallen are killing people under her protection. She is a failure as a governor of Kuaha. She got heated up real fast. I did this mostly by talking to Konako and Issei. Like talking about some random shit. And then Issei gets curious and asks Rias about it. Rias naturally deflected those questions. She only had to wink at Issei for his brain to stop, and pet Konako's head. Rias is important to Konako, and she will listen to Rias. Before we set off, Rias gave us the big speech. It was met. Speech flashback. I have received some information that the fallen are going to attack more of our clients. This is unacceptable. I wanted to avoid a political incident. But as king of Kuaha, I cannot let this pass. We must eliminate the fallen. Rias stood in front of us and said confidently. Hi Bucku. The brainless love slave jumped up and pumped his fist. The others quickly got up and started getting ready to leave. I did so as well, just a lot slower. So we are going to go in and kill them. Well, I'll sick Dukalien on them. He will love the free food. He just has to keep his strength lowered and he can enjoy the feast. We arrive a little bit away from the church. Akeno. Please knock. Rias smiled sweetly. Akeno nods and points her hand at the church. A magic circle with the Gremory crest appears. Lightning started to gather before it hit the church. Boom. Present. That was a weak attack. She only blew up the doors and the surrounding walls. No damage to the people inside. The whole point of a sneak attack is to take as many of them out at that exact moment. But then again, what did I expect from them? Akeno is only a bit weaker than Rias. She purposely weakens herself even more by not using her fallen heritage. We are here to kick your asses. The pervert yelled out. Zero common sense. Fucking shonen protagonists. Anyone else in their head would have been blasted off. I mean, you can only trash talk people and talk on the battlefield if your strengths are somewhat evenly matched. Issei currently is only better than a few of these rejects. Attack. The exorcists started to shoot at us with their light guns, all while charging and waving around their light swords. Pathetic. This won't even be a good workout. I always keep my strength sealed. That and the mana compression and mana shroud swords, along with gravity and resistance swords. They are active at all times. Right now, I'm showing early high-class energy levels. But I could lower it down to low class if I wanted and it still would do nothing. The skill difference between me and these rejects is quite literally the distance between heaven and earth. I am high ultimate class. The early beginning of it. I broke through not so long ago. But that's still Seraph/Satan class. While these guys are only low class thanks to their gear. Rias and Akeno start attacking them from a distance. Konako and Issei charge. Konako punches an exorcist and he gets sent flying. Issei does the same but it's more like a slugfest. Oh well. Might as well stretch a bit. I raise my hand and start making a sword. It was big. Bigger than myself. It was more like a piece of steel shaped like a cleaver. I put it on my shoulder. The Kubikaraibasho. Zabuza's sword from Naruto. It was nothing special. I made it exactly as it was in Naruto. I made a ton of different swords. But most of them are useless now. I only use the ones that are efficient. Eat this blondie. An exorcist swung his light sword at me. I just looked at him with a blank look as I swung down the sword. Swish. Splat. I directly cut him in half. And it was perfectly in half. Not a millimeter difference. What the hell is going on here? Reincarnated and her minions come out. The fallen join in the fight. As well as the maniac freed. His hair was wet. I was in the fucking shower. Don't fuck with me. Fucking devils. I'll chop you up into mincemeat. Of course. I'll take on the maniac. I just jump in swinging my sword. Cutting the exorcists in my path. I need freed alive. Oh yeah, I forgot about Dukkalion. I whistle loudly. Awoo. What the hell is that? Issei yells out. Dukshan. Konako tilts her head. Crash. The wall was torn open by a big black wolf. He was growling at the exorcist. Enjoy, I call out, and that's all he needed. Dukkalion jumped on them and started to eat them. Disgusting creature. Die. Middle tried to spear him but he bit through the spear and chomped on her leg. Middlet screamed. But Dukkalion wasn't done. He started swinging her around, tearing up her leg even more. Before he decides to take it outside. Save me. Middlet screamed out for help. The fallen didn't move a muscle. They were scared to death. Fuck no. See. Freed dropped a flash bomb. Blinding everyone. The next moment he was gone. Well, at least I don't have to worry about him dying. Take them down. Rias ordered, and the battle started all over again. I just threw my sword at them. It cut through quite a few of them before embedding itself in the wall. The others were taking down the rest fairly quickly. I'm just going outside. I don't really want to see the drama between Issei and Reincarnated. Well, no one will be bothering Asia anytime soon. Nobody can even find her. She has my swords on her. That reminds me, I need to start training her. By the time I'm done with her, she's going to surpass her original by a long shot. A/N. Someone asked me about DxD, Necromancy system. But web novel deleted his comment, so here it is. I have other FICS besides MHA, Code and DxD, ReKiba. Like 8 others I think. They are only up to CH 10 or 11 on my pat. I update them when I get inspiration. I focus more on the ones I'm releasing. So when Code or Kiba ends, Pats will vote for the next FIC. Main FICS, DxD, ReKiba and MHA, Code. Others, DBZ reborn as Gohan, the Gohan we wanted but got a crybaby. DC, Young Justice, Superboy, wakes up as Superboy inside Cadmus. His own man. Doesn't like the Justice League but still on the team. DxD, Magneto, sacred gear like Magneto's powers. He is in Sana's peerage. Since Sana's first year. DxD, necromancy system, this is going to be messed up. Like I put all the sick ideas in my head in this FIC. It will probably remind you a lot of Dark Wolf Shiro. But a little less focus on women. DxD, true gamer, it's hard to write gamer FICS. Sora from NGNL gets gamer system. Goal? Revive the recently deceased Shiro. No matter how many people he has to hurt to do it. Human MC. No turning into devil. Harry Potter, Ron, transmigrated as Ron evil OC blood magic. Lots of killing. OP very fast. And a few others that haven't made it to chapter 10 yet. Chapter 26, Familiar Forest. Again. The fallen situation was over. Except for this time I got the prize. A healer/medic who also has the talent to become a dragon tamer. I started her on basic exercises and a lot of books. She told me she already has some training in human anatomy and medicine. Honestly, she can do without this. But there is a difference in doing it and knowing how it's done. If she has a better grasp on what she is doing, she will lower the cost required to do it. But this is going to take time. And it's not like it's urgent. What she needs is to urgently build up her stamina and mana reserves. It's not like she is going to be on the front lines. But having stamina and speed will help a long way in staying alive. That and defensive spells. This will come with time. Right now Rias has gathered all of us in the lobby again. It's time for Issei to get his familiar. Rias smiled brightly. This time she used her brain and used her family name. The reason being the wedding is closing in. And she needs any help that she can get. Rias inst this a bit sudden. Akeno asks. She has a point. This came out of nowhere. Not that I didn't expect it. But Rias didn't tell anyone about it. Well, it came up just yesterday. Apparently, Tiamat left to go settle some old debts. So now is the perfect time to go in and finish up quickly. Ever since Tiamat got stronger things have been a bit chaotic in the familiar forest. So I rushed to get the spot. Glad I was able to get it now when she is gone. Rias sighed out in relief. Tiamat, hey. I hear she has been terrorizing some poor bastards ever since her strength stabilized a few months ago. I should go visit her. She is definitely a lot stronger than me now. But fighting against her should help me improve. Yet. I'll do that once I'm free. A/N. MC has no idea about Tiamat. And it wasn't just a random decision from her side. Ah, good to be back here. You can really breathe in the magic-rich air. That reminds me. I need to grab a few more souvenirs like last time. I released a lion to go blow off some steam. Basically, bully other male blade wolves and mate with the females. Usually, familiars go back here when they are not summoned. But Dukalian is different. He hides in my shadow. Half the time I'm away from this school I go out to train in very dangerous parts in the underworld. Dukalian is always with me. He trains in the less dangerous parts because of his current strength. His growth has slowed down a bit, but that's normal. Magical beasts get stronger with time. But if he keeps up his current pace, he is going to be very strong in the future. Gotta catch 'em all. Sigh. This guy again. Who's there? Issei yells out at the treetops. I'm the familiar master. Zataji. The familiar master. What a joke. Well, let's go find your familiar. Issei. Rias straightens her back, making her breasts bounce. Issei's eyes zoomed in like a hawk watching its prey. Hi Bucko. A boob bounce and he is lost in La La Land. This world is honestly ridiculous if a guy like him became one of the strongest people here. Protagonist plot armor indeed. We walk around the forest looking for potential familiars for the pervert. Of course he wanted a familiar with a human form. So he wanted a mermaid or a dryad. We met the weirdest things this time. It might be because Issei is here. The water spirit Undine. It turned out to be a buff man with a pair of boobs and long blonde curly hair. After that we met a mermaid with a fish's torso and human legs. It was quite disturbing. But that's a female, Ash lookalike points out. Issei falls down on his knees. Which I totally get. I refuse to see that thing as a woman. It's got the face of a goblin, and more muscles than the current strongman champion. While we were walking, green slime started to drop down from the branches. Nope. I make some swords and fuse them to make an umbrella. These clothes were custom made and they are expensive. The slime that fell on Rias, Akeno, and Konako started to eat through just their clothes. 'Cause hentai logic. Bang. Konako punched Issei into the ground. Please don't look at us with those perverted eyes, she said coldly. But I have to do something when you are in trouble. And Kiba is also looking. He pointed at me. It's a free show. I would turn away if I actually liked them as a person. Since I would respect our friendship. But alas, we are not friends. Hence I don't care. The slime started to eat through their underwear. Rias and Akeno stared to moan while they struggled. I'm generally interested if they are putting on a show for Issei or if the slime is actually triggering their erogenous zones. Wahoo! Gotta save this on my internal hard disk. Work brain. Work. Overtime. These are slime that primarily feeds on textiles. Other than being an annoyance to women, they are pretty much harmless. A slime that eats women's clothes. Bucko. I want this slime as my familiar. Issei yelled out with his hand raised. Oh, not there, Akeno moaned out again. Woohoo! This is just that talent I was looking for. The girls were pretty much naked at this point. Issei familiars are important to devils. Think carefully. I have thought of it carefully. I will make this my familiar. Issei's aura was burning. You can just burn it, you know. I mumble out. They immediately break free and destroy the slimes. Issei started to turn into the scream. You know what? I'm not even going to question this. Stupid hentai logic. Issei begged to spare the least bit of slime. Slime Taro was born to meet me. It's destiny. Bzzzzz. A lightning attack destroyed the last bit of slime. Slime Teru. The sprite dragon destroyed it. This is the one that became Asia's familiar. I'll be coming back for you. Sigh. Let's just go home. Rias just sighed out. Looking at the pitiful state of Issei as he cried while holding the burnt slime remains. A few days later. That bastard was here. And he left without saying anything. Tiamat raged. She just got back from her trip. Isaiah's scent was all over this forest. Has someone finally grabbed the attention of the great dragon queen? A cold but melodic voice echoed behind Tiamat. Who turned and gruffed Tsura. What are you doing here? It's rare for you to leave Tannen's side. After all, you stalked him for decades until he cracked and agreed to marry you. I heard you got stronger and came to visit you. Tsura calmly spoke out. I broke through months ago. Tiamat deadpanned. So. I was busy. Busy molding your daughter to be exactly like you. And putting Tannen in his place, I assume. I still don't know how you did that. A dragon king afraid of a Yukiana? Preposterous. If you weren't so strong. Just having sex with him should have killed you. Why did you chase after him anyway? Tiamat asked curiously. We met by chance when he was traveling with his group. He said I was very pretty and they moved on. I followed him ever since. You stalked a guy until he married you. Because he said you were pretty. Tiamat looked at her incuriously. Yes, Tsura just nodded. And don't change the subject. You also fancy someone now. Right. Her tone had a slight teasing note. Not that it any of your business, but yes. I'm happy for you. Who is he and when's the wedding? Tsura said right away. He is an unknown devil. I won't be telling you his name. But there will be no wedding. Tiamat says seriously. Why? Tsura asked curiously. Male and female dragons mate differently. Male dragons have sex with anyone they find attractive. They have large harems. Lots of different races have marriage ceremonies. The male dragon does them to keep his harem happy. But female dragons are different. We mate for life and our mate must defeat us in battle. To prove he can protect us, himself, and our hatchlings. The moment he defeats me, I will mark him as my mate if he accepts me. That is a female dragon's wedding. And he will accept me. Tiamat grinned in her dragon form. Hey! Tannen never mentioned that. Well, looks like someone's getting an earful tonight. Tsura smiled. In a different location. Dragon King Tannen shivered. What is that crazy wife of mine up to now? I so pity the guy who gets the same treatment from my daughters. Tannen shivered again. Now go away, you pest. I'm going out again to release my new anger. Tiamat roared. Humph. You are still such a barbaric woman. I wish your future husband good luck. Tsura turned into an ice mist just as Tiamat's fist came crashing down on her. Get back here. Number A/N. Tsura Yukiana. One of Tannen's wives. Icicle equals Tsurera. Cameo from another FIC. About the Yukiana. Nope, it's okay. He really was high ultimate. But just at the beginning of it. Like he had just entered it. Now about why balance breaker is needed for Senbonsakura. After all, it's just a sword that breaks down into many tiny pieces. Nothing special. Well, yet. Some Zanpakutas don't have a Bankai. Hence no need for balance breaker. But each one that has Bankai must be made in balance breaker. Their entire composition breaks the rules of the DxD world. A Bankai can boost the strength of a Shinigami x5 to x10 times. It either boosts the physical strength like Ichigo, or boosts the Zanpakuto power, like Byakuya. That boost is another concept. So we have one, the original Zanpakuto concept, plus boost. Any sword with more than one concept needs to be made with balance breaker. Some have more than one concept, making it more difficult to be made. Others are just useless to him, Hazukimaru, that's why he only uses a few swords. The ones that are useful to him, he still hasn't showed the real OP ones. BTW. Just to clear it up to some people. The only stories that I currently release are MHA, Core and DxD, ReKiba. MHA code only on web novel. Not enough time to copy-paste the other chaps on other platforms. I post code on Scribble Hub, Fanfic.net, and will probably start posting on Royal Road. Since Kiba has like 25 chaps all in all. Code has 100. That will take me a week. Time that I do not have. The other FICs I mentioned are only on my Patreon, and will be released eventually when their turn comes up. Chapter 27, Riser arrives. We are all in the orc lobby. The mood was very tense. Grafia was here with us as well. She was standing on the side dressed in her maid uniform. Rias tried to give her virginity to Issei last night and Grafia stopped it. Virginity seal tied to Rias. It's basically an alarm whenever Rias intends or is close to losing her virginity. That means if she tries to lose it or if someone tried to RP her. Boom. Grafia appears. But seriously, how desperate can you get? Actually, I take that back. Apparently a lot. I mean she could have chosen any good-looking guy in town. There has to be someone who isn't a scumbag or is just nice. Yet she decided to give her virginity to Lust Incarnate. The dude who would literally die for a pair of boobs. It seems she has gotten a soft spot for him. Which is a bit weird, considering she let him die. But then again, people fall in love with puppies. So I'm guessing that's where they are right now. The pervert literally follows her everywhere. I won't say I understand their relationship. Because I don't. And I also don't care. I'm only here until I am free. And that chance has just arrived. Riser arrives alone with a teleportation circle in the middle of the room. We give each other a small respectful nod. Gotta keep up appearances. I haven't been in the human world in a while, he says while looking at the window. I fought down a snort. We got drunk just last week, here in Kuaha. And the two kings of Kuaha have no clue. He is rubbing it in her face, without Rias even knowing about it. An inside joke if you will. I have come for you. Rias my love boy, the sarcasm coming from his mouth. It's so sharp you can practically cut someone with it. Who is this guy? Issei asks, confused about Riser's sudden appearance. He really doesn't know anything. And Rias is to blame for it. At least at the Gremory mansion, I got books about devil culture and manners. This is Riser Phoenix-sama. A pure-blood, high-class devil and the third son of the Phoenix family. He is also the fiancé of the Gremory family's heirless apparent. Grafia answered him. Gremory heiress apparent, that means. Issei figured it out quickly. Yeah, he is engaged to Rias, I spoke up. Yeah. Bucko is getting married. Issei screamed out. Let us sit, Grafia says in a commanding tone. Riser stopped himself from giving a reaction to her tone. All of us sat down. Riser. I told you last time. I have no intention of marrying you, Rias says in her usual arrogant young lady, Aju, tone. Causing Riser's eye to twitch slightly. And you think Riser wants to marry you? But, Rias. I thought your family with its back against the wall and was pushing for this. You have no right to be selfish. I don't want to marry you too, you arrogant girl. Your family is in a tough spot. Blame your daddy for using you to increase his standing. I could practically hear Riser's hidden message. Which was totally unnoticed by everyone except me and Grafia. Who didn't even react except for the very slight narrowing of her eyes. I'm not going to bring my family down, Rias stared down at Riser. Cough. Doubt it. The way you are going. The Gremory family will die out pretty soon with you in charge. I'm going to take a husband. But I will marry somebody I want to be with. Riser sipped on his cup, ignoring her. The entire devil population has been down because of the previous war. Our fathers arranged this marriage for a common goal. I don't want this. Tell this to your family members. My father, brother, and other family members are rushing this too much. I won't say again, Riser. I'm not going to marry you. Rias yelled out. Riser looked like he wanted to punch her in the face. But he stood up and put his fingers on her chin. You know, Rias. I am a member of the Phoenix family. I can't have you sully my honor. I'll take you back to the underworld even if it means burning your servants to ashes. Riser flared his power and so did Rias. 10/10 acting. Please calm down, Grafia interrupted them. Aja-sama, Riser-sama. I am here on Surtsk-sama's orders. He predicted this might happen. As such, I have been charged to carry out the last resort measures if no agreement is reached. Grafia spoke calmly. What agreement? They both have no choice. You make it sound like they both wanted this. Last resort? What do you mean, Grafia? Rias asked Grafia with her arms crossed under her breasts. If you insist on denying this marriage, you are welcome to settle this issue with a rating game against Riser. Akeno explained the rating game concept to Issei. I have played in many rating games. And almost won them all. You are not even an officially qualified player, let alone have any experience. Rias, just to make sure, are these all of your servants? Riser asks with a smirk. I know where this is going. So what if they are? Rias snapped back at him. Riser laughed and snapped his fingers. A magic circle appears and a big fire wave bursts from it. In the wave were Riser's peerage. He was always dramatic. The fire effect is just for show. I have 15 members. In other words, a full set of pieces. Riser was quite proud of that. Plus it was a good intimidation tactic to summon them now in front of Rias's incomplete peerage. Beauties. 15 beautiful girls. Unbelievable. Issei looked at them in shock before he started to cry. What a true man. Riser's sweat dropped as he looked at Issei. I haven't said a thing about Rias's peerage, and Riser never asked. Oi, Rias, why is that servant crying out loud while looking at me? Rias face-palmed. Forming a harem is a dream of his. That's creepy. Ravel cringed as she looked at Issei, and Riser's smirk got bigger. He saw the newest weak point that Rias had. I see. Yubelina. Riser called out. She started to walk to him. Yes, Riser-sama. It's scary how much in sync these guys are. She knew exactly what Riser wanted to do. He grabbed Luna and started making out with her. Rias cringed when she saw this. While Issei blushed a bit. He stopped making out with her and started groping Luna. You will never be able to do things like this. You lowly imp, he said while still molesting Luna's boobs. She was enjoying it too. All of this pissed off Issei and Rias. Mind games. This is how a true devil operates. Shut up. I can tell that you will keep flirting with other girls even after marrying Bucku. You promiscuous fried chicken bastard. Issei pointed his finger at him. Excuse me? Who was the one who had a giant harem even after marrying Rias at the end of DxD? And really? Insulting a high-class devil when you are just a newly reincarnated one. Really stupid idea. Rias is at fault for this. She didn't teach him. If this happened in front of other nobles, Rias's position in society would drop down. After all, the servants reflect their masters. If your servants are calm and focused, it means the master is as well. If they are wild and undisciplined like Issei, what does that say about Rias? You. Don't you know your place? Riser asks angrily. I would be angry too. An ant just insulted him. I don't care. All I'm aware of is stop it, Issei. Rias ordered my position as Bucku's servant. Noting more, nothing less. He summons the boosted gear. Moron. We don't need a stupid game. I'm taking you all down right now. Boost. He charged straight at them. Riser calmly spoke up. Myra. Someone jumped in front of Issei. Myra was a young girl with blue hair and light brown eyes. Her hair is styled with 4 short ponytails, with the front of her hair features split bangs going across her forehead, with side bangs framing her face. She carried a wooden staff. She is also the weakest member of Riser's peerage. Issei stops when he sees her. This small girl? I can't really attack her. While Issei was mumbling, Myra dashed and stabbed her staff in his gut. Then she threw him upwards, making him crash in the ceiling, and quickly fall down. Ding! Ding! TKO! Voiced in my mind. Issei. Rias quickly got to his side. Bucko. I'm sorry. Issei dropped unconscious. Hat. Who knew the holder of the boosted gear was such a worthless guy? Riser shook his head. Totally disappointed. Well. He kinda does have a point. I mean a guy with a god-slaying weapon. Got K.O.ed by his weak set servant. Alright. Let's settle this with a rating game, and Rias got emotional. And when people get emotional they get stupid. Understood. Grafia stepped up. Riser, I swear I'll blast you away. Rias glared at him. I look forward to it. We are leaving. The girls wanted to check out Kuaha. Can one of you see us out? Riser asked politely. But he was basically calling me. I'll see them off. The rest aren't very calm right now, I spoke up. Grafia narrowed her eyes at me but nodded. I started leading Riser and Co out of the school. As soon as we were out of hearing range. Ugh, Kiba, I so pity you. Especially with that new member. Is he really the Red Dragon Emperor? Riser slumped a bit. The Gremory family made sure to spread the news. And increase Rias's reputation. Yep, he really is. He is most likely the weakest host to date. But then again. Dragons are emotional creatures. The kid wears his heart on his sleeve. But he won't be able to do much without training for a few years. I wonder if his plot armor is as strong as it was in the OG. Such a pity. I was hoping for a real challenge. Riser sighed. The disappointment was obvious. Careful what you wish for, I smirk at him. You think you can take all of us on? Riser asked with a raised eyebrow. He was skeptical. He knew I was strong. But now how much? I mean a reincarnated devil who hasn't been a devil for even a decade, taking on a whole peerage. I can see where he is coming from. But there are always exceptions. In this case. Me. I put my hand on his shoulder. And match my strength exactly to his. His eyes widened. Riser was shell-shocked. What? How? Since when? I trained hard. I smirked at him as I sealed my power back to normal. Riser noticed this and narrowed his eyes. The way I casually change my power levels. He is thinking that I'm hiding more. And he's right. Hey. What would you say if I managed to annul your marriage to Rias? And still, make you look good in the end? This time Riser was the one with a huge grin on his face. I'm listening. Head after this I'm calling Surtsks. Time to make a deal with the devil, again. Chapter 28, Training Camp. Rias was making Issei carry the most weight. It would have made more sense for all of us to be carrying weights. But hey, what do I know? It's not like I haven't trained my whole entire life. She didn't even ask me for my opinion or my help. I had just as much gear on my back. Might as well be carrying feathers. But I increased my gravity and resistance again. Might as well get a good workout while climbing this mountain. I pass by Issei on your left. Damn you for showing off how easy it is, Issei grumbled. Excuse me. Konako passed by with a backpack 10 times the size that both of us were carrying. Issei fell on his back when he saw her. They gave Rias 10 days. To level the playing field with Riser. They all must be high. It's like asking newbie football players to play an official match with professionals. And they have 10 days to catch up to the pros. And Rias doesn't even have Asia with her this time. She is toast. Arriving at the villa. After walking for about 20 more minutes. We reached the villa. It looked great on the outside. Honestly, this villa was just like a summer house to the Gremory family. Actually, I don't know if this even belongs to them. But comparing this to the Germery mansion. I think it sounds about right. Okay, let's put our stuff down and start training, Rias says happily. Training. Right away. Bucko. You are a monster. Issei started to tear up comically. No, I'm a devil, Rias winked at him. Har har har. Very funny. We enter the villa and pick our rooms. Rias wanted me to share a room with Issei but I refused. There are like 5 other unoccupied rooms. If she wants to deepen our bonds, why doesn't she go and sleep with him? Oh wait. She tried. And got cock-blocked. Too bad for her. Rias tried to make a training program. Emphasis on tried. She just crammed as much activity into the day and made Issei do them. That's not the right way to learn. Lesson 1 was sword training with me. I got to beat him up with a wooden stick. Which was funny. Especially since I didn't even try to teach him anything other than the basics that a kendo beginner could tell him. Fighting me was supposed to let him have some experience with fighting knights. What kind of experience does she expect him to get in 10 days? Then again, this is a world where he got a power up by touching a pair of boobs. So, I have no idea. I wouldn't know since I'm not the protagonist. And I had to train very hard to get to this point. Lesson 2. Magic with a kendo. They decided to teach him magic now. Even though they didn't before because of his pitiful reserves. A kendo was teaching him to feel his magic and call it out. She teased him all the time with slight touches, making him lose focus. Not like he had that much of it in the first place. Anything that inst related to girls and boobs he loses focus fast. So in Issei's case, focus on magic that could save his master's future or the bombshell touching you all over your body. It's obvious what he would do. Lesson 3. Hand to hand with Konako. This was hilarious to watch. Konako basically beating the crap out of him. She did it with glee. Revenge for all the peeking. Thud. Issei complained. Weak. Says indifferently. With the same cold face as always. He quickly got up. Not yet. I'm not giving up. Ei. Bang. Lesson 4. Rias told him to use magic to cook. And left him alone. Sigh. What the hell is she thinking? This is where Issei figured out the foundation for dress break. By holding an onion and thinking of undressing a kendo. The outer layer of the onion tore apart. Same with the potatoes. Which is such a stupid ass skill. I mean tearing the clothes of women. Big deal. It would only be useful if he could apply it on armor. Well, normal armor doesn't matter much. But veil scale mail does count as armor. So unless he can use dress break on that, then it's a useless spell. Dinner time. We were all eating on the table. Akeno went in and showed Issei the steps. Otherwise, we would be probably eating burnt food right now. And I don't even mean that in an insulting manner. Most guys have no idea how to cook. Issei's mother handles the cooking in his house. Asia helped out in the OG. But she isn't here right now. What do you say we take a bath to relax? Rias asks everyone. Bath. Issei jumped from his chair, smoke comically coming from his nose. Issei, are you perhaps going to peek? You know you could come and join us. Does anyone have a problem with that? Rias asks Akeno and Konako. Yufufu, I always wanted to try washing a guy's back. Akeno did her thing, but she also glanced at me. She is sending the signals. But I'm ignoring them. It's not worth the trouble. Especially when I'm so close to my freedom. Issei gets more excited by the second. I don't want to, but Konako's voice smashes his dreams to pieces. Well, never mind then. Sorry, Issei. Rias smiles at him innocently. Thud. Issei falls backward. Just blindfold Issei. It will probably be torture to him, I say offhandedly. Konako and Akeno perk up on torture. Good idea, Yuato-senpai. Konako pumps her fist. Era. I wonder if Issei will go crazy. But you will have to be blindfolded too. Akeno smirks. I don't mind. I can see even when I am blindfolded, like I would let such an obvious weakness affect me. I trained a lot by eliminating my senses. Echolocation is pretty simple to recreate with magic. Bath. The water feels great, Rias says as she relaxes in the hot spring. Konako just nods. Era. Looks like someone is stubborn though. Akeno smiled as she turned to Issei. Come off. Stupid blindfold. Let me see paradise. Issei was struggling to take off the magic blindfold. Let me see the glorious oppai. Baku's glorious perky boobs. Akeno's magnificent giant rack. Even Konako's small palm-sized guff. Konako punched Issei in the gut. Sigh honestly, Issei. Why can't you be like Yuato? Rias face palms. Yufufu. But it's weird that Kiba is showing no reaction. This should be very stimulating to boys. Akeno palmed her cheek. Yuato-senpai can't see, Koenko said calmly. I counter back. That's impossible. That blindfold is specially made. And expensive. Yufufu, of course it's Akeno's blindfold. Raise your hand and make a number with your fingers. I didn't bother to say anything else. They each show a different number. 4 2 7. I point at Rias. Konako and Akeno. Konako quickly covered herself. Akeno and Rias just looked curious. How? Akeno asked, she also licked her lips for some reason. There are many more ways to see than just relying on sight. I learned how to do echolocation with magic. It requires very precise control, but I can do it. I didn't want to be useless if I am blinded for some reason or if I was fighting in a fog or smokescreen. That's impressive. But that means you have been able to see us since the start. What? You bastard! How can you see the glorious Oppai, but I can't? Take DHIGUF another punch from Koenko and Issei is K.O.ed for another 5 minutes. Yes. I can see better than I would see with my eyes. Considering your bodies are underwater and are hidden by the steam. Pervert Konako shyly mumbled. Era. And it's still not enough to excite you. Maybe you play for the other team, Akeno giggled. Well, considering I'm not a virgin. And I meet up with girls often, I doubt it. And it would take a lot more than this to make me lose control. Women like it when a man has and takes control. Something you know nothing about. Considering you haven't even kissed a guy. I say to Akeno. I imagine she had a blush on her face by the way she turned her head to the side. What? Since when are you not a virgin? Rias yelled out as she stood up. Since the first week, we got in Kyoaha. Era. Uedo-kun works fast. Don't tell me you were pent up because of us in the Gremory mansion. Akeno wanted to get a hit in because I embarrassed her. Yes, I was. You are all very attractive. My blunt answer made them all shut up and look to the side awkwardly. I'm glad the pervert's knocked out. I doubt I could handle his screaming. And didn't I mention this before already? Did they already forget? Late in the night. Rias catches Issei going for a cup of water. She was staying late reading about raiding game tactics. A bit late for that if you ask me. I mean, she decides to study tactics now? 9 days away from the fight. Rias talks to Issei. I'm looking at them through the window. This is the scene where they have their big heart-to-heart moment. Where she falls in love with him even more. She knows this game is a trap from her father. She doesn't like how the Gremory name followed her. Everybody only sees Rias Gremory. She was at least her husband to love her just for as Rias and not her name. A small dream of hers. I already hit a sword there. A microphone basically. I love you Bucka regardless of rank and name, cliché, but clashes work. Honestly, I think he should have kissed her at this moment. Rias would probably let him. Issei's low self-esteem issues. He doesn't have confidence. Cries in her chest. Well, if Rias did something impressive for once. Maybe people won't know her for her family name. I mean, everybody knows Ajilka. Either by Beelzebub or Astaroth. But they know Ajilka is a genius. No matter which name he goes by. All she has done her whole life is laze around, and watch manga and anime. And she expects people to know her for something other than Rias Gremory. We are on the field watching Issei power up. Buddhist. Again Issei. Buddhist. Again. Buddhist. That's enough. Rias stops him. Era. 12 boosts. That's impressive. Akeno cups her cheek. Issei was staring speechlessly at his gauntlet. Then Rias started her mini speech. Rias says he got this strong because of the camp. But hear me out. Maybe, just maybe. It's because he is getting used to being a devil. And all the running around he does on his bike is paying off. I mean, 2 days of training and wow. He can do 12 boosts? I don't think so. The most likely scenario is all the running around he has been doing for the past month. Explosion. Dragon shot. He shoots the top off a small mountain. The dragon shot is equivalent to an attack from a high-class devil. Wonder what will happen if he boots me? That's an interesting thing to see later on. I would have gotten boosted gear for myself or someone from my future team. But leaving it with the pervert is actually a better plan. First of all, his plot armor. He will always find himself in dangerous situations. Which means it will be less likely to happen to me. Second. The Red Dragon Emperor is a big beacon. Everyone wants him to work for their faction. And if he doesn't join them, he is a threat that will have to be eliminated. And all the threats that will appear in the future. I'll let Issei deal with them. Why should I risk myself or my people? When I can let the others take care of them. And on the off chance, he is about to die. Like he should have if it wasn't for plot armor. Then I'll take Drake. It was late at night again. Issei was to invent a new move. The dress break. Since Asia isn't here, he had to ask Rias and Akeno, who of course agreed. Anything to make Issei stronger. So they spent the night trying to get Issei to tear apart their clothes. With magic. It's no wonder they lost. Chapter 29, Deal with the Devil. Again. So why did you call me out here, Kiba? You said it was important and it involved Rias. Should you be training for the raiding game? Surtsks asked seriously. He was not amused, being called like this. He was Lucifer. He can't be summoned like this. Well, I wanted to talk to you about the raiding game actually. Kiba says with a smile. What about it? Surtsks narrowed his eyes. Well, you know Rias's odds at winning are practically non-existent, right? Kiba smiled. Surtsks kept quiet, but he was getting a bit angry. That means Riser gets to have fun with Rias when she loses. Surtsks' aura explodes, making Kiba smile even more. Ah, are you sure? Injuring me right before the raiding game? That's not smart. Surtsks clicked his tongue and called back his power. What do you want? Surtsks asks coldly. To make a deal, Kiba replies in kind, with the same tone and expression. We have a deal. You fight for Rias for 100 years. Surtsks said evenly. But we didn't. We didn't make a contract. We just talked about some bullshit and you know it as well. This time we sign a magical contract. Surtsks was quiet for a while. What are the terms? If Rias wins her match against Riser, I am free. I leave her peerage without anyone hunting after me. Rias wins and I walk away. Kiba said slowly. You do realize what you are asking me to do, right? For that to happen I need to give you a high-class rank. And you don't have the merit for it. Surtsks tried to talk his way out of it. I don't care how you do it. You could kill the council for all I care. If Rias wins, I get out of her peerage without any complications. No declaring me a stray devil. No bullshit bounty on my head. No involving me in plots and schemes. Free. How you do it is none of my concern. My freedom for your sister's happiness. Or do you think she will be happily married to Riser? How would you even win? Riser is a high-class devil. Yes, you are also high-class in terms of strength, but you are just at the beginning. Plus Riser has his bloodline, he questioned Kiba. Surtsks thinks that Kiba is high-class. But that won't be enough to stop Riser. I will enter a forced incomplete balance breaker to stop Riser. I know I can win. So do we have a deal? Yes, Surtsks answered, a bit unwilling to do this. Kiba has a lot of potential. Potential that could be used against them. But Rias is more important. Good. I already wrote up a contract. Just to make sure you don't cheat me. You people are good at that. Surtsks didn't comment and just read through the contract. Had. I paid the most annoying, bloodthirsty lawyers I could find. They put anything that could be used against me to be absolute. After I'm free from Rias's peerage, of course. Surtsks raised a quill and stabbed it in his hand. He then looked at the bottom of the contract. Really hating the fact that he has to sign it to save his sister. I will get you back for this. His looked away from the contract and glared at Kiba. Before looking down again and signing the magical contract. Both of them glowed once he signed it. The contract was done. The paper duplicated itself. Each side had a copy. I'll be seeing you around, Surtsks said coldly before he teleported away. No you won't, Kiba smiled as he started to walk back to the villa. Kiba POV. It's done. Now all that's left to do is to win the raiding game. Riser is already knows the plan. Beat up Rias's peerage. Destroy her completely. Showing off his superiority. Then I come in and I fight him and his entire peerage. I will show off my strength and Riser will be forced to fight with all of his strength and so will his peerage. They fight bravely to the end. Rias wins the raiding game but her reputation is at an all-time low. She couldn't command her peerage properly and lost. And her servant was stronger than her. Which in general can't be allowed to happen. Since the king would then lose control of his/her evil piece. On the other hand, Riser shows off how much stronger he is than Rias. Then he fights an enemy much stronger than himself. But doesn't give up and makes some good tactics to counter him for a while. Increasing his reputation instead of it going down from the broken engagement. So the House of Phoenix won't get as much public backlash. So both of us win. And Rias is the only one that looks bad. After 9 years of training. of being a prisoner. I will finally be free. Kiba is currently 17, right? Second year student. Third POV. Surtsk's office. Grafia and Okada were waiting inside. Surtsk teleports inside. He was pissed. You are angry. Why? And who do I have to kill? Okada asks calmly. Kiba Yuato. I was forced to sign a deal with him. Rias will be free. But so will he. Surtsk tried to push down his anger. How? Granted he is high class. But he won't be able to beat Riser and his entire peerage. Grafia goes behind Surtsk and starts massaging his shoulders. He said he can forcefully enter Balance Breaker. And he guarantees he can take out Riser. Surtsk started to calm down. Rias's freedom for his. And letting him go is a mistake. He has lots of potential, and he dislikes most of us. Can we take any measurements after he earns his freedom? Surtsk shook his head. No, the deal was we don't go after him. No branding him a Rouge Devil. He gets to walk away. Without any repercussions. You said from our side. But if somebody else attacks him, it's not our concern. We don't even have to do anything. We usually just suppress the news. But this time we spread it. Rias Gremory's former knight is up for grabs. The old Satan faction might attack. The Fallen or Church might as well. And we don't break the contract. We will just spread the news that he is free. So instead of it taking a week or two to reach the other factions, it will happen in days. Okada suggested. It could work. Grafia thought about it. Yes. It could. Good idea, Okada. We will implement it as soon as Kiba wins. He will be entering a forced balance breaker. And fighting Riser. So it's likely that he will be injured afterward. We just cut our losses right away. Inform Serafil about this. She needs to keep an eye on any of the other factions. Surtsk ordered. Hi. Grafia and Okada bowed and left the room. Chapter 30, Rating Game. Yes people, I realize that it's a plot hole. Why did you think I asked? I wasn't sure. Because it was so petty and tiny. I started to doubt myself. Is this really considered a scheme? I mean, it was going to happen anyway. They just did their jobs instead of avoiding it and suppressing the news like they usually do. But the majority has spoken. It is a plot hole. Therefore it will be fixed. As soon as I get back from work. I didn't have any time to do it yesterday or this morning. Today's the day. The rating game is about to begin. All of us were waiting in the orc lobby. Issei was stressing out while the others were drinking tea. Grafia, Sana, and Tsubaki come in. The match is about to begin. You will be teleported to the stage as soon as it begins. Lucifer Sama will be watching. Grafia announced in her usual stoic tone. Oni Sama. Rias mumbles. Did you say your brother? And I tone them out. I start to focus on my plan. And the shit show that will happen afterward. They talk for a bit. Sana and Tsubaki are responsible for the narration of the fight. Sana will be the commentator. Thank you Grafia, Rias says calmly and watches as Grafia bows and teleports away. Good luck Rias, Sana said, but she was not hopeful of Rias whining. Thank you. I'll see you later, Rias spoke softly. A few minutes after they left, a teleportation circle appeared beneath us. We were teleported but we arrived back in the orc lobby. A copy of the school in another dimension. Another perk that they gave to Rias. Since she is familiar with the school. Usually, there are random stages. Jungle. Mountains. Tundra. City skyscrapers. But since Rias is weaker, they set the stage in her favor. Well, showtime. The game begins now. Grafia's voice echoed across the battlefield. First, all of us got magical earpieces so we can communicate with each other. The enemy's main base is in the new schoolhouse. The quickest way would be to cross the schoolyard. But we'd be in plain sight. Konako finishes Rias's sentence. Yes. It's too risky, Rias nods. Can we approach from the back? Across the track field, Issei suggests. But the enemy is expecting this. I expect a few of their rooks and knights to be placed around this clubhouse. Rias taps the map. And I block out most of this. It just goes back and forth until they decide to grab the gymnasium. Which was at the center of the map. But first we need a defensive line. Yuato. Konako. Go set traps in the forest. Understood. Konako said in her monotone voice, and I just gave a small nod. Akeno covered up the traps with illusions. Yufufu, of course. Akeno smiled, but her eyes were serious. The three of us left the building. Me, Konako and Akeno were setting the traps and hiding them. I don't think it will be effective, but met. Yuato. Do 3 more rows. Make them ice type. Akeno commanded. I rolled my eyes and made more traps. Our familiars were scouting. Tukalion was under orders from me to stay put. I can't let him go wild. He will tear apart anything that moves. It's just his instinct as a predator. After all, everyone here is weaker than him. The pervert is getting a lap pillow. And he is crying from how moved he is. And Rias said she will release the spell she put on him. Just a little bit. She apparently released some of his seals. I'm not even going to begin trying to comprehend her thoughts. I get it that Issei was too weak to handle all the power from the 8 pawns. But why? Why? Did she wait until the very last minute to unlock that strength? I mean, she could have done it one by one while we were training. Unseal 1. Issei gets stronger, meaning he can take more punishment, so he gets stronger again. Then you unseal the next one and repeat. She waited until now. So she can just unseal a part of it, and if he needed a tough body. Why the hell did he waste time in sword fighting with me? If he just needed fighting experience against a knight, it would have been better for him to fight barehanded. Since he doesn't use weapons. My disappointment is immeasurable. Then. Here is the plan. Here we go. Commence operation. My lovely servants, our opponent is Riser Phoenix, a man sharing the power of a phoenix. Now. Let's kick his ass. 2/10. She needs to work on the speeches. And lovely servant? Not for long. Issei and Konako are in the gymnasium. They are fighting. Solian the Rook. And Myra, Il, and Nell. The girl who beat Issei up and the lowly murder twins with chainsaws. The pervert used dress break on the pawns. You are terrible. A beast. An enemy of women. The pawns yelled at him, but he was too busy gloating in the moment. I'm disappointed in you. Konako breaks his daydreaming. Commence the next part. Rias is ordered over the comms. Konako and Issei ran out of the gymnasium. Run! Solian yelled out. Boom! Akeno blew up the building with lighting. Wow! Issei stood in awe. Riser's 3 pawns. Retired Graphias announced. What about the Chinese girl? Issei looked at the rebel. Era. She escaped. She certainly is a slippery one. Akeno didn't look happy. She had a frown on her face despite the cheerful voice. Meanwhile, I was in the forest. Waiting for my enemies. Good evening, Kiba-san. I heard a voice from the forest. Ravel came out behind. Here were the 2 maids and the dancer. That makes 3 more pawns. Next were the 2 knights. Hello, Ravel. Marion, brunette. Shuria. Carlamine. Sirius. I greet them with a smile. Hi Kiba. All of them wave at me. Perks of being a great friend. And lover. So you all against little old me. I grin at them, releasing a high-class power aura. Making them sweat even if they know it's just an act for the audience. Well, we should be able to hold you off for a little bit. All according to plan, Ravel said meaningfully. Good, all is going according to plan. That means Issei has to deal with the cat girls. The bishop and the last remaining rook. Well, let's have a bit of fun. I make some swords appear from the ground and grab one. All of them charge me at the same time. After all, they know is that they are staling a high-class devil. While I was being stalled, Konako gets spotted by the Yubelina and gets blown up. Akeno and Luna fight for a while before Akeno beats her but has some injuries. Luna heals with a phoenix tear. And defeats Akeno. I don't get if 2 phoenix tears could be used per game. Why the hell did Rias have none? Issei was getting thrown around like a ragdoll. There were too many of them and they were coordinated. Even when Issei charged up an attack, the one who was attacked would dodge while the others would slow him down, draining his stamina. Rias tries to sneak in Riser's territory to get a sneak attack. But Riser saw through her plan. They both engaged in battle. She keeps spamming attacks at Riser, which do no damage. Issei manages to make an explosion and threw all of his enemies away. But none of them retired. They were just blown back. He reaches the base and promotes to queen. Issei joins Rias in her assault. He boosts a lot and fires a dragon shot at Riser. Third POV. Riser lets the attack hit him only to regenerate. Ha ha ha. Is that the best you can do? I'm so disappointed. Looks like the Red Dragon Emperor of this generation will be a failure. He is probably the weakest one yet. Riser shook his head. Rias got angry at Riser for insulting her cute pawn. She continued to throw her power of destruction wildly, hitting Riser but dealing no damage. Issei was too weak to move. The dragon shot he fired at Riser drained him of all his magic. Take this. Riser spread his arms wide open. Fire gathered on both his palms. He threw the fire at them. It quickly spread, becoming a tsunami made out of fire. Rias made a barrier around her and Issei. The flamed tsunami blew up the part of the building they were standing on. The force of the attack burned a bit of their clothes and separated them. Riser walked over to Issei, who was laying on the ground, and kicked him in the stomach. Gah! Issei was sent flying to Rias. No, don't hurt him anymore. Rias hugged Issei's bleeding body. Then surrender, Riser said in a cold tone. He was a being of fire, but his eyes were as cold as ice. No. Issei struggled to get up. I won't let Buku get hurt, Issei said weakly. Issei. Rias started to tear up. Bang! Riser just threw a mini fireball at him. It didn't even do any damage, it just knocked him on his back. Wait! Please stop! Isu! Whoosh! Just as she is about to give up, a blade flew at her at high speeds and pierced her shadow. Rias was frozen in place. She wasn't even able to talk. She was completely paralyzed. Well, that's enough of that. Kiba slowly walks out of the forest. He was completely unharmed. A few seconds after him came out Riser's peerage, who stalled him. Their bodies were filled with scratches and cuts, all except Ravel, who only had her clothes torn. She regenerated. Riser and his remaining perigi gathered together. They were only missing the 3 pawns. Akeno blew up at the start. Kiba was totally disregarding the tension in the air. He was calm and casual, like he was going on an evening walk. Kiba, I have been waiting for you, Riser says with a smile. He raised his power to his max, showing that he was a true high class. His peerage followed him. Everybody was getting serious. Let the real fight begin. Chapter 31, Kiba vs Riser. I looked at Rias and Issei. Both were pretty banged up. Especially Issei. I quickly put some barriers around them so they don't get killed in our fight. It would be stupid if they retried like that. And it would ruin my plans. Looks like you had fun. I smile at Riser and his peerage. I can say the same about you. My girls look like they went through a tornado. He glances at the cuts on their bodies. I smiled at him and I raised my power to high class, matching Riser's. Tired of holding back, Kiba? I was getting bored. Riser smiled, happy that he was going to get a decent fight. He knew he would lose, but the benefits that will come would make up for that. Sword birth! I yelled out for the crowd. A sword as big as me was forming in my hand. Fire! Every member of Riser's peerage, including himself, started shooting all the spells they know. The spells made a dust cloud around me. Did that do anything? Ravel asked nervously. *grrrrrr. Gyagagia asterisk. What the hell is making that noise? Myra the pawn flinched from the sound. Well, that's a lot of magic. My friend says it's tasty. I swing my sword, clearing the dust cloud. Riser's peerage flinched away from the sight. Riser awkwardly pointed at my sword. Kiba. What in Mo's name is that? I smirk and lift up the blade. It looked like a ton of scales shaped like a ruler, and it was attached to the hilt. Meet Samehada, the living sword. This sword can eat magic. I dropped a huge bomb. Sirafal is going to want to strangle me after this. Asterisk clank. Clank. Grrrrrr asterisk. Samehada started to shiver from all the different magic it ate. Rush in. Close combat. Riser commanded. Since they had me surrounded, they could attack from various angles. Yeah, right. Samehada glowed. The light shrunk and it turned into a pair of swords, each with slim and straight double-edged blades. Both blades also have an upward curved bladed prong near the tip of one side of blade and another one near the base of the blade's other side. Kiba blades from Naruto. I crossed the swords. Lightning started to course through them. Then I slashed. A wave of lightning engulfed half of Riser's peerage. The sword glows again. It turned into Notaki, longer katana, with a crescent moon blade attached to the hilt with a chain. Higher in Meru. I wave the sword and an ice dragon from the tip of the sword and attacks Riser and the servants next to him. Really? Ice against me? I'll melt that thing. And that's exactly what he did. He raised his power and melted the ice dragon, causing steam to engulf all of us. Good job. But this sword allows me to control water and ice. The steam in the air started condensing, and a water dragon formed which quickly froze by me just tilting the sword a bit. Everybody use fire spells. Evaporate the ice dragon completely. Don't let it turn into water or steam. The hot air will also lower the amount of water he can gather from the air. Ravel yells out. Riser and Ravel naturally sent out the most fire. But as members of the Phoenix family, even the servants are taught how to use fire spells to a very high level. They all make a giant tornado of fire and evaporate the ice dragon. But the peerage members were a bit tired. He has to be tired after making those swords, the Knight Carlamine said out loud. Not knowing all the others shared her thoughts as well. I smiled at them. Luna cringed. What do you think? Sword birth. Balance breaker. I say out loud for the people watching. But on the inside, I'm thinking balance breaker Z series Senbonzakura. I got so many swords made I had to categorize them. I probably tried to make every sword that ever appeared in anime or mythology. Now they are just categorized into useful and just show off. And there are very few swords that show off as much as Senbonzakura. It's still a great sword. But compared to the really useful ones, not that much. Even if I need balance breaker to make it. One sword. He can only make one strong sword at a time. Ravel yells out as I held the default Senbonzakura. Kinda true. I keep it to one sword. But too many will take a lot of energy for me to maintain. Zanpakuto swords are different from the rest. First of all, the Shikai. That feature alone takes a lot of power to make. Since Zanpakuto rely on concepts taken to the maximum the user can take. Anyone can make a magical fire sword. But a fire Zanpakuto is different. Some Zanpakutos need more than one concept to be made. Let's take Jin's for example. It needs length and speed. But to an insane level. That's just two concepts taken to as much as I could handle. Each Zanpakuto is already at its maximum when I make it. The limit is predetermined when I make the sword. Since I get stronger with time, so do my creative abilities. So the length or the speed limit increases. Then there is the Bankai. Just for this feature to exist, it takes a crap ton of power. That's because of the boost concept that the Bankai gives. A Bankai can give up to 10 times the strength of what it's boosting. That's a partial boosted gear right there. That's why I can realistically use only one Zanpakuto at a time. 2 would drain me too fast and I would put myself at risk. Chire Senbonzakura, A/N scatter. Senbonzakura. I like the English one better. The blade started to fall apart into countless sakura flowers. Ravel tilted her head. Riser, as the strongest, was the first one to notice everybody back. He threw a wave of fire, trying to make a firewall between everyone and the sakura. The sakura cut through the flame wall. What is this? Myra yelled out as she ran back. Did he really make flowers that can cut through fire? And I screamed out. Hi. Carlamine tried to cut the sakura. Cling. They are not flowers. It's metal. All of those are tiny swords. They are reflecting the light. She screamed out to the rest. I was moving my hands like a conductor. The sakura split into tendrils. Attacking. Blocking. At the same time, my attacks were starting to add up. They were bleeding. Bit by bit they started to slow down. Ravel. Riser yelled out. He have a stern look at Ravel. Now. Are you crazy? Ravel yelled back at him. Just do it. Riser wasn't having any of it. His flaming wings spring open and he took to the sky. Fine. If our parents get angry, it's your fault. Ravel did the same and followed him. They both burst into fire. Scree, 2 flaming birds were in the sky. Ravel was quite a bit smaller than Riser. They both flew downwards and collided. They started to twist and turned into a spiral with 2 sources of power. They turned into a flaming drill and were heading straight at me. Well, this is new. I pump more power into Senbonzakura and follow their example. The tendrils started to twist, forming a drill as well, and I sent it to collide with them. Bang! Bzzzzzzzzz. Senbonzakura kept grinding at the flame. But they regenerated at the same time. So both drills just kept pushing at each other. The flaming drill started to superheat and boom! It exploded, sending the sakura flying everywhere. Most of the flames were heading in my direction. Is it not smart of me to show off this sword? Not really. But after this I will be free. If people do come after me, they will be having a tough time. I raised my hand and a sword started to form. It was big. As big as Samehada. Demon Dweller Sword - one of the anti-magic swords. The ones Asta uses. And since devil bodies are basically filled with magic, this thing started draining me right from the start. I have no idea how I made this. I assume it's the same way I made the Zanpakutos. Some multiverse bullshit. Batter up. I hit the fire with the spine of the blade. It rebounds the attack back at them. Which did absolutely nothing, since they are fire in the first place. Ugh, Ravel groaned as she stood up. Her clothes were ripped. It barely qualified as clothing anymore. But it was just enough to cover the important bits. Anime logic. Riser was topless. His pants were also ripped apart. Damn, I thought it would work. Riser smiled weakly. Good try. That could have ended any high-class being. That isn't me. I smile at them. Senbonzakura was disappearing. But it's time to end this. My words caused their mood to sour. I started making a new sword. It was an oversized plain black blade with a broad silver cutting edge, without a guard plate or proper hilt. It just has a white ribbon wrapped around the handle. Zangetsu has arrived. Zangetsu has two functions: to compress and release the power of the user as an attack. I already have been using swords that compress my demonic energy since I started to train. Even though I'm high ultimate class, my power is much denser than others. That means my attacks pack a bit more punch. I grabbed the ribbon at the beginning, since the end was tied to the hilt of the sword. Then I raised the sword and started to spin it. Riser and his peerage were wary of the blade. They didn't know what it could do. But slowly the sword started to glow. The circle that was formed by the afterimage was glowing as well. It's been fun, guys. I quickly spun my body and grabbed the hilt of the sword and swung in a full circle. All the built-up momentum blasted out of the sword. Getsuga Tenshou. A circular Getsuga Tenshou exploded outwards. The circle was made of my compressed power. There was no stopping that. Surrounding me was a mistake. Kite from HXH with the scythe. Same situation. They tried to stop it, but all of them fell. Except for Riser and Ravel, who regenerated but were barely standing. Their transformation took a lot of power to do. They are running on low. Riser Sama's bishop, rooks, knights, and pawns have retired, Grafia announced, but the shock could be heard in her voice. This day is the worst, Ravel grumbles before she vanishes into blue lights. She ran out of demonic energy. Hat. I'll see you later, Kiba. Riser smiled and disappeared, the same as Ravel. Winner Rias Gremory. Number A/N. What do you think about the explanation about the Zanpakuto? Honestly, I think you get the point, but I could have explained it better. The next chap will be the end of Vol 1. I will be taking a week off after that, to work on the next volume. I think I like how all of this turned out. There will be hella better swords in Vol 2. Currently, he is just one guy. Showing off too much isn't very smart. Chapter 32, Freedom and Party. VIP Room. Sirafal and Surtsks were watching the raiding game alongside with their peerages. Winner, Rias Gremory. Silence. The entire room was silent. Surtsks. Sirafal said quietly as she stood up. What the hell? Her loud voice caused the others to flinch because they didn't expect it. High class. Does that look like high class to you? Do you realize the political nightmare that's about to happen? Surtsks grimaced. The old devils are going to raise some hell because of this. For multiple reasons too. Because I'll tell you. First of all, the old devils from the council will make trouble for you. Because Kiba beat a whole peerage by himself. And he is just a servant. They will demand him to be put under control. As it was very obvious that he isn't, since he paralyzed Rias. And you can't do it because of your contract with him. I'll put them in their place, Surtsks says evenly. He was not in a good mood. If any one of the elders wanted to cause trouble now, it will not end well. Then there is the shitstorm that I'm about to face. Do you know how many factions will ask about him? What am I supposed to say? I'm sorry, we didn't know he had special swords. We thought he was only an ordinary high class. The devil faction would become a laughingstock in the supernatural world. And since Kiba is free, that means he is up for grabs from the other factions. And we can't even do anything to him because of that damned contract you signed. Well, was it worth it? Rias, in exchange for one of our enemies possibly getting a talented recruit that they could use against us. Sirafal slammed her fist on the table. Yes, it was. Rias is free. I can now have some peace of mind. Someone else will deal with Kiba. Did you spread the news? Sertsk admits. Yes, but I wish I didn't. I set it up so it was automatic. As soon as the game ended, everyone got footage of Kiba beating Riser. It was supposed to be a desperate attempt to beat Riser, not total domination over a phoenix in his entire peerage. Sigh, I have to go. I need to fulfill my end of the contract. Sertsk sighed and stood up. He didn't want to have this conversation right now. Asterisk bzzz. Bzzz asterisk. Great, the vultures have already started to gather. Sirafal groaned as she saw her phone buzz. The various factions had their sights set on Kiba already. Orc lobby. Kiba, why didn't you tell us you were so strong? Akeno asked loudly. Don't you trust us at all? Rias had tears streaming down her face. On one hand, she was happy that she was free. On the other, she was totally useless. And Kiba was the one who fixed everything. But it turned out she didn't know him at all. And that hurt. Pretty boy. How dare you do that to Buku? Issei said while laying on the bed. He was still exhausted. I kept it a secret because it's the smart thing to do. No, I do not trust you. And if I didn't stop Rias, she would have given up because of how weak you are. He answers their questions one by one with a bored expression on his face. Krrrrrrrr. The doors creaked when they were opened. Sertsk, Grafia, Sirafal, Sana, and Tsubaki entered. Sana and Tsubaki were nervous. Sertsk and Grafia wore cold expressions on their face. Sirafal, on the other hand, fine, I'll tell him. But you better keep your end of the deal, Azazel. Sirafal smashed the red button on her phone and sighed out. She then looked at Kiba. For the last hour I have been getting calls from various factions asking about you. And I had nothing to tell them. I have a major headache. How will you be compensating this to me? Sirafal smiled at him. The fake eyes closed smile. Not my problem. Kiba said to Sirafal and turned to Sertsk. I did my part of the deal. Now you do yours. Sertsk clenched his jaw for a second. Kiba Uetto. As Satan, Mu, Lucifer. I give you your freedom. But we will still need a few days to get rid of the evil piece in your body. Ajuka needs to do some scans to safely remove it. Kiba just raised an eyebrow. He raised his hand and formed a dagger. The blade on the dagger was dark with multiple colors blending together. The middle part of the dagger was sharply bent out of place, almost forming a mirrored Z. Rule breaker. Before anyone could say anything, Kiba sharply stabbed himself in the chest. Gasp! Many of the girls in the room gasped in fright. The adults narrowed their eyes. The dagger glowed and the night piece exited through his back. He picks up the piece and hands it to Rias. Then turns around to the Satans. If you'll excuse me, I need to pack. Before he walked away. Kiba. Azazel said he wants to talk to you. Something about an offer, Sirafal informed him, but she was far from pleased. Kiba nods. Oh, and it's not Kiba. It's Isaiah heads to get his things. Well, that went well, Sertsk said sarcastically. The problems haven't even started yet, Sirafal grumbled as she got another message. Nii-sama. What is this about a deal? Rias crossed her arms and Sertsk's face palmed. Leaving Kuaha. It was time to say goodbye. Everyone was in the lobby, including Sana and Tsubaki, who were quite tense. Sertsk, Grafia, and Sirafal had already left. Konako was sad. Gasper was crying. Rias and Akeno kept quiet. So did Issei. I have something to show you. Consider it a goodbye present. It's quite the special sword. I smile at them. Mostly Konako and Gasper. Konako surprisingly started to shed some tears as well. I raise my hand. Balance breaker, Z-Series Kyoka Suijutsu. Goodbye. Party of the decade. Inside a certain bar in a town nearby Kuaha. I am free. Riser yelled out at the top of his lungs. And it's all thanks to you. Riser raised his glass in the air. To Isaiah. To Isaiah. His peerage followed along. This was the biggest party I have been to. Food and drinks everywhere. We booked the entire bar. Thank you. But I wasn't able to do it alone. Each of us had a part to play. To us. To us. Riser celebrates the annulment of his engagement. And I celebrate my freedom. Pizza, fries, chicken nuggets. Lamb chops, onion rings. Burgers. Fish. You name it, it was there. That end asterisk boom. Boom. Boom asterisk. Heavy footsteps were heard as someone was entering the bar. Bang. You have got a lot of nerve calling me here. The Bear King, the maker of the wild mead, was here and he was pissed off. He was interrupted by a large piece of monster meat flying at his face. The smell was so intoxicating he grabbed it out of the air with his mouth and quickly ate it. Shut up and join the party already. There is a ton of food and alcohol. Bring out your wild mead. And I'll bring out the good monster meat. The Bear King looked at all of the delicious high-quality monster meat and his stomach growled. Fine, he spat out, but I'm still kicking your ass later. 1 hour later. All three of them were singing and dancing, while the girls were clapping along. What will we do with a drunken sailor? What will we do with a drunken sailor? What will we do with a drunken sailor? Early in the morning. Way hey, and up she rises. Way hey. A/N. What do you think about the party DxD? It's officially been 1 month since I started releasing this FIC. Daily releases have been a challenge. I am glad I could keep up. In 1 month this FIC has gotten 1.24 m views, 6.3k collections and 50k word count. And it has been number 1 on the monthly rankings for 2 weeks in a row. I'm not just happy. I'm fucking ecstatic. My brain is like, people really do like my stuff. Took me a while to come to terms with that. Just thanks to all the people reading this. I will be taking a week to plan and write some chapters of volume 2. After that it's all back to usual. See ya, beer mug panda face. Chapter 33, Plans for the Future. Pain. My head. How much did I drink? Isaiah. You arrived early in the morning and collapsed in the middle of the room. There were lipstick marks all around your face and neck. I whipped them away and healed you as much as I could with twilight healing, Asia says nervously. Asia, you are an angel. She blushes a bit. Fuck. She was excommunicated by them. Now I'm comparing her to them. Great going, you stupid moron. The sprite dragon looked at me with a worried expression. He actually liked me somewhat. Since I'm the one that brought him to Asia. The little guy fell in love with her right away. Thank you. The party last night was pretty wild. Since I am finally free, same as my friend, but he is free in a different sense. We decided to celebrate. I'm going to be sticking with you from now on. How have you been, Asia? I visit her every 3rd day since I put her in this apartment. I bought this place from the money I liberated from the churches. I have been fine. I can eat and do what I want. I usually study then go watch TV and play games. I never knew it could be so much fun, Asia brightly smiles. That's great, I smile at her. As long as she is happy. It's all good. But. Asia says uncertainly. But what? Don't be shy. Just say what you think and I'll give you my opinion. I try to be supportive. She is a different Asia. But she still has her old experiences. She needs time to get used to the change. I'm not sure that I can be useful at all on the battlefield. I'm a medic. Medics usually just stay somewhere and heal people. We don't fight because we are too weak to fight. She lowers her head. Her weak power in general. She is putting herself down by comparing herself to me. Asia. Do you think medics are weak? I ask gently, to which she only nods. I wave my hand and create a memory sword. This sword holds the memories I have of a certain female medic. Watch it and tell me if you think she is weak. Asia looked at the sword uncertainly before cutting her hand on it. This sword contains the memories I have of Tsunade Senju, except for her gambling problem. I don't need Asia to copy that. All her fights. The way she heals. The way she breaks apart boulders with a single punch. After a few minutes Asia snaps back to reality and she was in awe. Wow. She is just amazing. With a single punch, she can blast apart anything. And she is a medic. Asia literally had stars in her eyes. What do you think? Are medics weak? She quickly shook her head. I don't know any of her techniques. But nothing is stopping you from recreating them. It will take time, practice, and patience. Do you think you can do it? Do you want to make it happen? To punch the lights of the devil that set you up. I keep edging her on. Asia looked at her small fist, before she clenched it. I'll do it. I'll study to become the best medic I can be. And I'll blow away anyone who tries to get in my way. Future plans. So. Now that I'm free I need to decide on my future plans. I definitely need to stick around QA for a bit longer. Kokabeel and Valper will be arriving soon. After that I'll look on starting my own faction. Joining one is always an option. Especially if I show my true strength. No one will reject an ultimate class fighter wanting to join them. But that means they will decide my movements. Like, take this mission. Do that. Protect him. Nah, I'm my own man. I will form my own group. Currently, there are a few people that I want to recruit off the bat. Ingvild Leviathan, her lineage along with her sacred gear make her a very valuable member. Her sacred gear Nereid Kyrie can control dragons even the sea. The next one is Valeri Teeps. A dumper and an old friend of Gasper. She has a Longinus Sephiroth Grawl. This sacred gear forcefully shows its host the principle of life and souls. Making the user go slowly insane. This Longinus has a lot of useful abilities. Healing, resurrection, weakness reduction. Youth inducement. If this was an RPG game, she would be the perfect healer. Ross Weiss. A Valkyrie and bodyguard for the All-Father. Odin. She should be easy enough to recruit. As a Valkyrie, she failed to recruit any hero souls and guide them to Valhalla. So she was appointed as Odin's bodyguard. But instead of a bodyguard, she became his babysitter and the other Valkyries made fun of her calling her Odin's servant girl. She is a very talented magician that I would love to have on my team. Meredith Ordenton. A magician born from a member of the British royal family and his commoner lover. She is the wielder of the Longinus, Alpheka Tyrant, one of the 5 newly discovered Longinus. One of the holy relics. And she has a grudge against the British royal family. She could be useful. Another one is Feldera. One of Tannin's many children. I met him while stealing a bit of the Bear King's mead. He was there as well. When we both saw each other we froze. But with a few nods and gestures. We decided to steal it together and got drunk afterward. He is a simple and honest brute who loves to fight. But has enough intelligence not to insult anyone who is a lot stronger than him. Which already puts him above Vala's group. I'm sure there are many more talented people in this world. That were not shown in the OG material. There are a few others. I have heard rumors about a violent yokai that lives alone in the mountains. The demon fox. At first, I assumed he was one of Yasaka's. But she denied having anyone like that in her faction. Which is very weird and I am very intrigued. There are tons of people like that. Outcasts that don't fit in anywhere. I'm just going to go around and add any people I find interesting. That's of course if they accept. I mean I can use Kyoka Suijutsu on them. But that kinda goes against the whole point of me getting trustworthy people to join my team. If I wanted slaves, I could easily get them. No, I want loyalty. That means even if I'm 1 foot in the grave, these people will not abandon me. Plus Kyoka Suijutsu doesn't work on strong people. I tested it out on Tiamat. She broke through it. Which I kinda expected. As if I'd get OP that easily. I just recreate those swords. The fact that I managed to do it in the first place is a freaking miracle. But they are just copies. Not real Zanpakutos. There's no soul in them. Let's go get our second member. The Storm Dragon. Chapter 34, Feldera. Underworld. Tannin's territory. Dragon Mountain. I teleport to one of my markers. Now where is Feldera? Knowing him he is probably sleeping or fighting somewhere. CRRRRRACK. Boohooam. Lighting. Yep, that's him. I started heading west toward the pits. The pits were basically just a bunch of huge craters in the ground that were used as fighting stages. Gladiator fights but with dragons. I slowly walk into the spectator zone. There are hundreds of dragons here. There is no way I can hide from that many of them. I look at one of the pits. There was a red dragon carrying a fire blast at the other one. A dragon with midnight black scales. He had lightning crossing through him. That's who I was looking for. Feldera charged blue lightning and sent the other dragon flying. Unlike most of Tannen's children, who get their father's fire and earth affinity, that earned him the name Blaze Meteor Dragon. Feldera took after his mother, a high-level dragon, who could use water and lightning. Feldera had gotten his affinities from her. He was calling himself the Storm Dragon, and spreading that nickname around, to avoid someone giving him a stupid title. I waved my hand to him. Feldera quickly turned in his human form. He was 2 meters tall and had blonde hair. His skin was tanned and he had some tribal red markings on his body. Feldera quickly grabbed me and started flying away from the other dragons. Once he stopped and landed, he started to shake me by my shoulders. Isaiah, are you finally going to start your adventure? You promised to take me. No take-backs. This is also the reason why I wanted to get him first. He was desperate to leave Dragon Mountain, or as he calls it, prison for young dragons. Because the parents won't let them leave. I wonder why. Maybe the fact that every young dragon that has left this place has gone somewhere and caused chaos. Meaning the parents have to fix it. Yes. Calm down. I just got free yesterday. I push him away. I saw that. The video was posted as soon as the match ended. It has never been that fast. They didn't even edit it like they usually do. Feldera scrunched his nose. He knows that something is wrong but not what it is. Don't worry about it. The point is, I'm free and now I can start living my life the way I want to. You are the first one I came to get. Our other teammate is waiting for us in my apartment. By the way, I stocked up on manga and have a tablet waiting for you so you can read the newer chapters online. As soon as I said manga, Feldera's eyes started to shine like stars. The main reason he wants to leave is because he is bored as hell. I gave him some gifts the first time we met. He hasn't stopped bugging me for new manga ever since. Young dragons don't use technology. They are not allowed to because they don't have their emotions under control and they break stuff easily. Feldera is one of the strongest dragons in his generation. High class. That's not bad for a young drake. Especially since they get stronger as they age. But again, Feldera is so bored he fights a lot to reduce his boredom. Others fight because of instincts and anger. Not this guy. When he is not fighting, he is laying down and daydreaming. Other drakes insult him and challenge him. And he waves him off if he is having fun daydreaming and fantasizing. What are we waiting for? To the land of freedom. Which is anywhere with manga. Feldera points his finger to the sky. Yeah. I put my hand on his shoulder and hold my warp sword. A/N teleport sword. Warp sounds better, I think. Whoosh. Grigori. HQ. Azazel POV. No, you cannot go fight him, Volley, I sigh in a worn out tone. We have been arguing for the last 10 minutes. Why not? He is not an ally. And he is pretty weak. I could take him. Vala says arrogantly. He was angry at being stopped. I just facepalm wishing Shimazal and Penium were here. How do you stop your adopted son from committing suicide? Well, I have many sons and daughters. But they aren't the White Dragon Emperor. Vala can start a war all by himself and go nuclear when he is about to die. And his secret team wasn't helping either. Did he really think I wouldn't find out about it? No, you can't. Vala, listen to me. He will kill you. Do you understand? He doesn't give a damn about you or me or Grigori. You attack him and you are dead. I started to recall my meeting with Kiba. The sheer power the boy contained. Just how dense and compressed his power was. That was terrifying. That kind of thing can only be expected from someone who dedicated his whole life to training. Like Sun Wukong. His Toki was so dense and strong that he uses it to kick gods around. You don't see that kind of dedication from a 16-year-old. Hell, he was just an ordinary kid before he was turned into a devil. That means it took him only 9 years to get to this stage. Even Vala with his revenge-driven goal didn't make that kind of progress. And Vala can fight my cotters. Vala is mostly that strong because of his sacred gear and his bloodline, which gives him a large mana pool. Kiba also had a strong body. When he flexed his power, I could feel his life force. It was strong and contained. Also a little compressed. I assume he only unlocked it in the last few years. He will be terrifying in the future, and I'm currently looking to make peace. Fighting him will be counterproductive. There is also his threat, if I can call it that. Live as long as I have and you pick up a thing or two. Like telling who is lying or bluffing. The kid just said the cold hard truth. He would kill anyone who messed with him. He knew Vala was my son and said he would kill him straight to my face. I don't know what trump cards he was hiding. Well, is hiding. But they are definitely strong enough to give him confidence. And from the swords, he showed the public. I can assume he has a lot stronger ones hidden away. For when someone stupid enough like Vala decides to attack him. We will see about that. Vala snarled, walked out of the room and slammed the door. Well, that was a disaster, a lazy voice said from the couch. Great, another headache. Sigh, what do you want, Dino? From reincarnated as a slime/Tenchera. A short, skinny young man with silver hair that had one purple bang was lazying around on the couch. Hey, that's cold, Dad. Is that any way to greet your favorite son? Well, the second favorite after all. Vala is first place. Dino smiled lazily. He clearly didn't give a damn about it but still rubbed it in my face. Sigh, you know exactly why Vala gets privileges. And you mean my laziest son? How you reached your current level of strength I'll never know. I'm surprised to see you anywhere but in your bed. What do you want? I need to go and contact Kiba, or Isaiah as he is called now. And convince him not to kill Vala or his secret team of troublemakers. I can already feel the headache. I'm here to inform you I'm leaving Grigory. Dino yawns out, making me raise my eyebrow. Who, and where exactly will you be going? What is he up to now? Things just had to get more troublesome. When it rains it pours. I'm going to visit this Kiba guy. Looks like fun. And maybe chill around in some park while I'm there. Sigh, of course he is. 2 of my sons are going to go poke the sleeping dragon. They obviously didn't get my intelligence. Even though Vala is adopted. I still thought he would learn a thing or two from me. Do what you want. Just don't attack or annoy him and you will be fine. I wave him away. Nice. Now I'm going to go take some ZS. Good night. Thud. Asterisk ZZZZZZ. ZZZZZZ asterisk. Dino fell asleep right away. In my office. Why can't I have a normal kid just once? Number A/N. I always thought it weird Azazel had no kids. It's well known that he is a pervert. And that he sleeps around. Dude's been alive for millennia. Grigory should be crawling with his kids. I read a FIC that said 8% of Grigory is only his spawn. Like if a fallen has 2 wings. There is a high chance it's one of his kids. And he doesn't really care much about them since he has so many of them. Chapter 35, Valerie. If you want to read ahead or just support me, go check out my pat. There are a lot of FICs and ideas there. There is no paywall. Every single one of these FICs and chapters will be released eventually. But if you don't want to wait or just want to support me, check out the pat. patrayon.com/alcoholic_panda, discord.gg/6yyvm6tj6t. Okay, first of all, this isn't a crossover. Feldera and Dino are just characters I copied because I liked them. I really wanted a dragon and fallen in MC's team. And I didn't want to make Ox. I was like, what funny ass dragon do I put in the team? Feldera just clicked. Then I realized there was a lazy fallen in Tenchera, and I was like, done. I'm doing it. I think I made the right choice. XD. Who's so this your place? Is this going to be our base? Feldera starts to check out my apartment. Hell no. This is more like a safe house. We will temporarily stay here until we gather more members. Then we can go out and see the world. We will choose any place that we like and we will build our base there. I smiled, thinking at the thought of building my own home. I see, who's the other person that lives here? I can tell that she is a girl, but that's about it. Feldera looks at the room Asia's in. I smile. I'm going to enjoy watching this. Asia, can you come out? There is someone I would like you to meet. Asterisk tap. Tap. Tap asterisk. Isaiah. Welcome back. Who's your friend? She looks at Feldera with a wry expression. Asia, let me introduce you to Viladra. He is one of Tannin's sons. A dragon. Dragon. Asia gasped in surprise. Hello. I am the Storm Dragon. Feldera Tempest. Feldera put his fists on his hips and pushed his chest up proudly. Tempest? Oi, where did the Tempest part come from? I turned to Feldera who was grinding. Well, I thought just Feldera was a bit boring. Dragons usually have one name, but Drake had a surname, you know, Drake Wygoch. I want something cool like that, so I choose Tempest. What do you think? You know what? It's fine. As long as it makes you happy. Asia started to giggle because of our interactions. Pleasure to meet you. I'm Asia Argento. A blue blur zoomed past and appeared in front of Asia. And this one here is Rasii. The baby sprite dragon was a bit intimidated by Feldera's dragon aura. But it still bravely stood in front of Asia to protect her. Ha, brave little guy. Don't worry, I won't hurt her. Feldera pets the small baby drake. Dragon tamer strikes again. Feldera is even more relaxed than he usually is. Romania. Me and Feldera teleport to Romania. Asia stayed at home. She isn't ready for stuff like this yet. Romania is vampire territory. Split between Teeps faction led by men believing men are superior and women are slaves. And the Camellia faction. Led by women believing women are superior and men are slaves. I grabbed a member of the Teeps faction and plunged a memory sword in his head. What I can give I can also take. Teeps faction coup d'état still hasn't happened by Rias. They are currently using her powers to buff the Teeps faction soldiers. Since it was impossible for the soldiers to be pulled back from their borders, they had to take Valerie out sometimes so she can eliminate their weaknesses and buff them in groups. Looks like today is one of those days. Lucky us. Fuck. How did those bitches find us? A member who was escorting Valerie yelled out. Damn it, and we can't even fight them. We have clear orders. If anyone comes for this little bitch, we run and take her back to the castle. But it's too far away. Going back to the base where we increased the strength of our troops. Less talking, more running. The leader of the group was carrying Valerie and was running up in front. Whoosh! A woman appeared in front of them, causing the men to stop in place. She was very short, around 150 centimeters tall. She had long wavy blonde hair. But the color was so light you could mistake it for silver. Two vampires came from both sides of the leader and stood in front of him to protect Valerie. Elmenhilde Karnstein growled out the leader. How did you find us so quickly? The woman smirked at him. Did you forget? Reconnaissance is my area of expertise. I might not be able to defeat you now. But I can stall you for a little while before the others get here. Shit. Cole, take her. You are the fastest among us after me. Go quickly to the base and all of you take her to the castle. The leader handed off Valerie to the vampire behind him. Understood. Cole only nodded. Ha ha ha. You won't be going anywhere. Elmenhilde laughed at the entire group as hordes of bats appeared behind her. I agree, a cold voice boomed in the clearing they were. Before a dreadfly sharp aura engulfed all of them. Two men stepped out of the shadows. Both were blonde. But raw power oozed out of the shorter one. We will be taking the girl off your hands. Silence. That's what I was greeted with. How rude. WW. Who are you? Elmenhilde quickly composed herself as she asked with her pretty smile. But inside she was panicking like crazy. Who the hell is this? Why is such a strong ultimate class here? He might be even stronger than Camellia. Who I am doesn't matter. I will be taking the girl with me. Keep on dreaming. She belongs to the Teeps faction. We are not letting you or this bitch have her. The leader growled at me. Tukalion appeared from my shadow. Duke. Chow time. I quickly make a sword in my hand and stab him in the back. The sword quickly fuses with him. A green hue appears around him. Tukalion crouches and boom. The sound barrier was broken. Acceleration sword. It makes Tukalion even faster than he already was. Ah! He quickly started to deal with the vampires in the back. No survivors. I gloss at Feldera and he nods back. Got it. Wait, I want to make a DEA. I don't waste any time with the vampire and directly attacked her. She used her bats to defend herself. Sword birth Murasame. One concept. Poison. No balance breaker. A katana in a red sheath appeared in my hands. It had a talisman with some writing on the red hilt. I quickly pulled out the blade and attacked her. She put all of her bats in front of her like a shield. I cut off the bats with my frankly stupid strength levels. And leave a cut on her arm. Elmenhilde saw that she had absolutely no chance. She brought out her wings and flew away. I turned to the Teeps faction group only to see some charred corpses from Feldera's lightning and Duke chowing down on the ripped-apart corpses of the vampires. Man, that was fast. Was it okay for you to let her go? Feldera used his hand to dust off his cloak. Oh, she is dead. The blade is poisonous. It actually has accursed poison. She will be dead in seconds. I go up and check on the Valerie. Good, they still haven't taken her grails. Valerie has a subspecies of Sephiroth Graal. So instead of 1, she has 3. And it's also the reason she survived in the original ones. 2 were stolen from her. I'm still working on making a subspecies for my sword birth. It's going slowly. But I already have an idea in mind. I don't know if it's because of a butterfly effect or if they were going to steal them soon. But now that doesn't matter. They won't be able to get her now. Which means no army of evil dragons. Rizevim might blow a fuse after hearing this. But he has to catch me first. Well, let's take her to Asia. Elmenhilda POV. I need to tell this to Camellia. Someone took the girl. They are definitely chasing me, he said. No survivors. There were weird markings appearing from the wound. They already reached my shoulder. Most likely seals. I couldn't use my magic anymore. I was running on foot. Is he planning to torture me? Tire me out like this before taking me once I am exhausted? Gah. What? My heart. No. I need to tell Camellia-sama. Thud. A/N. A name for Isaiah. I'm thinking Danku, boss/Capitan. Like from HXH Phantom Troop or Nanatsu no Taizai with Meliodas. Some people on web novel were complaining about how the MC was not evil enough and he should have turned Asia into a devil or added her in a peerage or whatever. Was Doflamingo not evil? He was all about his family. And they would die for him. That's sort of what I'm going for. But more along the lines of Phantom Troop. Next chap, Team Volley. Chapter 36, Team Volley. I think this chap deserves Stones XD. Occult Research Club. Rias POV. Sigh. Ever since Yuato left, or Isaiah as he goes by now, the mood has been gloomy. Akeno tried to go on as usual. But she was hurt. She feels abandoned again. Same as me. I just don't understand why he left. I have never mistreated him or anything. He was always cold to me and the rest. Well, me and Akeno. He was normal with Konako and Gasper. Those two took it harder. A lot harder. Gasper cried a lot for a few days. He idolized Yuato. The one who spent the most time with him was Yuato after all. And they were the only 2 boys back then. Now Gasper is a lot gloomier. He stopped cross-dressing and started to come out of his room. Which would have been great. But he doesn't talk to anybody. He goes to an empty field and started to train his body and his sacred gear. Just like Yuato did. I think he is trying to be like Yuato, maybe to understand why he left. He mostly ignores Issei. When I asked him why, he said no one can replace Kiba-senpai. Konako on the other hand was sad. She lost pretty bad in the rating game. We all did. But she was the first one to be retired. Then when she wakes up, Yuato decided to leave all of a sudden. Maybe she thinks it's her fault. I tried to help but she didn't want to talk about it. She wasn't particularly close to him. As far as I know. She used to come and sit next to him when he was tired from training. But they never spoke much. They had a weird relationship. So it shocked me how hard she took his departure. Sigh, what am I going to do? MC apartment. MC POV. Valerie started to wake up. She has been sleeping for quite a while. Wakey wakey. Sleeping Beauty. MHHMMM. Where am I? She rose in a sitting position and looked around the room. Me and Asia were waiting for her to wake up. Feldera was reading manga in the living room. Who are you? Valerie asked with little to no emotion. Hey. Weird. Wasn't she emotionless because the grails were ripped out of her? Maybe it's from the grail itself. It forcefully shows the host how both life and souls are made. That's some profound stuff. Hearing it over and over again has driven previous holders of the gear mad. Hello, I am Isaiah. And this is Asia. There is another person in the living room. His name is Feldera. Me and him rescued you from the vampires. They can no longer hurt you. Ah. That was her only reaction. Thank you. She tilted her head to the side. Are you asking me or thanking me? So what now? Valerie said softly. Well, there are a lot of people after your sacred gear. And they will stop at nothing to get it. Especially Chaos Brigade. They have members of every race and their goal is to spread chaos and destruction. Some members of the Teeps faction were working with them. I know they were going to extract the Sephiroth Grail from you later on. I explained slowly. So she can process all of it. I see. She just had that stoic look on her face. So here is my offer. Join my team. Me and my team plan to live our lives to the fullest. We will go around the world traveling to places and meeting people. I don't care about what race you are. What I want is loyalty. Others will attack us because of our very strength. I want to have people who won't just abandon or betray us when that happened. Okay, I'll join. Hey? You will join? Just like that. I was dumbfounded. Was it really this easy? Valerie nods. Traveling the world and meeting people sounds fun. I always wanted to do that. Since I was always trapped in a cage in the dungeons. Can you tell me about yourselves and our team? Okay. Well, that worked out. Well, I'm the leader. I was just a simple church boy who was later kidnapped and experimented on by the church. They killed me and my friends. I was revived by a devil and I recently got my freedom back. And decided to form my own team so I can enjoy life with people who want to do the same. Isa here was a nun excommunicated from the church. Just because she healed a devil with her sacred gear. Turns out a few of the priests were given money to make that happen. The fallen wanted to take her gear and a devil wanted to revive her so she can be a slave in her purge. Valeria looks at Asia quietly. Asia realized that she was asking. Yes, it's true. Not that I know. I decided not to care about what others think. I will live my own life. So far Isaiah hasn't done anything bad to me. He has been really nice. I hope you join. I want to help you get better. And I want more friends. Asia smiled brightly at Valerie, whose lips rose just a tiny bit. I called Feldera over. He slowly entered the room and waved at Valerie. This is Feldera, he is a dragon. Since he is young he was always stuck at home. He wanted to go out and have fun, so he joined me. That is correct. I the Storm Dragon. Feldera Tempest. Was bored out of my mind. Thankfully Isaiah, my sworn friend, got me away from that place or I might have just died from boredom. Ha 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 ha. Feldera started to laugh like a madman. His positive energy was so infectious even Valerie chuckled a bit. Well, how about we go out and celebrate? Feldera and Asia instantly agreed. Valerie also nodded. This is slowly turning out to be something special. Secret hideout. Volley. Arthur. La Fei and Baikao were sitting around waiting for Kurika. Man, when is she going to come? I'm getting bored, Baikao complained as he was munching down on some fruits. Is this really a good idea? We don't know the full extent of his strength. Leifi was reading her book. I found them, Naya. There are in the Yuba. The city near Kuah, Kurika said enthusiastically. Kaya haha. Tracking really is yours, especially Kurika. I'm not good at using senjutsu like that. Baikao smiles. Good, we will leave immediately. Vala quickly stood up. There was some sort of ward array around the city. I had to use some pretty high-level senjutsu cloaking to hide from it, Naya. You guys will definitely be found out. Kurika grumbled. Doesn't matter if he knows we are coming. It might even be better. He will show himself to us. Or he will run. If he does that we will leave. I don't plan on fighting cowards, Vala smirked. Next day. MCPOV. Multiple strong people have just entered the city. This feeling. Draconic. But not a dragon. Ultimate class. A yokai. Ultimate as well. And 2 humans. Both ultimate. What the hell? Yo Feldera, can you feel that? Some people just entered the city. Ha. Feldera closed the manga he was reading and sniffed the air. Asterisk sniff. Sniff asterisk. Yokai. 2 of them. A monkey and a cat. 2 humans. And something else. A mix of human, devil and dragon. What's up with that? Feldera scratched his head. Team Valahi. But why didn't I pick up on Kurika? Can't these stupid sensor swords work properly like one time? Well, let's go greet them. They are after me. Asia, Valerie. Some people just arrived. It's too risky to leave you here. So you will be coming as well. Don't worry. Feldera will protect you. I call them out. Asia and Valerie nodded. Ha ha ha. Don't worry. With me there they won't be able to put a scratch on you. Feldera patted his chest. Let's head out and see what they want. Vala, they noticed us and are coming this way. Naya. And there are more of them than the last time I was here. Kurika came out of the shadows. It would be better if you go and hide just in case, Arthur suggested after hearing that this won't be as simple as Vala planned. I don't care either way. Vala waved his hand. Kurika slowly vanished into the shadows. Kia haha. Looks like they are already here. Baikao bought out his staff and slammed the end into the ground. 4 figures appeared in front of them. One they recognized. Kiba Uado/Isaiah. The other 3 were a tall tanned blonde man. A small blonde girl with her hair in a ponytail and a young woman with short blonde hair and red eyes. Kaya haha, what is this? Team Blonde. Baikao started to laugh. Baikao. Me and my sister are blonde. Please think before you speak. Arthur sighed in disappointment. White Dragon Emperor. I warned Azazel. And I'm sure he warned you. Yet despite that you are still here. What do you want? Isaiah calmly stepped forward and looked at them. I want to fight you. Vala grinned as his aura exploded. I refuse. Isaiah instantly replied, I have nothing to gain by fighting an arrogant prick like you. Leave. If you still insist on attacking me. Then you will die. Oh, and tell your cat friend to come out of the shadows. Everybody was startled. He found Kurika. How did you find me, Naya? Kurika appeared behind Team Volley. Ha ha ha. You can't fool my nose. Little girl Feldera pointed at his nose. He was the same age as her. Mentally. Dragons perceive time differently. Chronologically Feldera has been alive for a few decades. But his age only started once he got sentience. Kurika focused on Feldera Dragon, causing the others to look at him in a different light. She quickly turned to Baikao. And you didn't notice? Oi, give me a break. I'm not good at that sensing stuff. I only use senjutsu to boost my own strength. Baikoi raised his hands to defend himself. Dragon or not? It doesn't matter. You will fight me whether you like it or not. White mechanical wings appeared on Vala's back. Each wing had 4 blue energy feathers. Divine dividing. Moron. Does he intend to wreak the city? The Shinto faction will be furious. Isaiah shook his head. Isaiah POV. Does this little shit think he can take me? Whoosh. They put up a barrier. So they do have some common sense. Color me surprised. Balance breaker, sword of betrayal. I just changed up the sword. It still looks like ReKiba's, but instead of it being just a holy demonic sword, it now has dragon slaying properties as well. Be careful, Volley. That sword gives me a bad feeling. Albion spoke to Vala. The wings on his back glowed. Humph. He is nothing to me. Vala ignored Albion's advice. I put away the sword of betrayal for later. It was one of the lesser tier 2 swords. It's just a bit special now because of the dragon slaying element. I focus my power and create another sword. A katana with a purple guard and a wave pattern on the blade. Collapse. Sakanade, counter stroke. The sword started to change. The pommel becomes a large ring that was big enough for someone to put their head through. There were small equally spaced holes on the blade. Hey. Vala punched at Isaiah. Splat. Only to receive a deep gash on his torso. What? Vala looked at his wound in shock. Welcome to the, or as I like to call it, Plom Uop PSD. What is this? Vala looked around. To him I was standing upside down in the air. This is the reverse world. Up, down. Left, right. Everything is reversed. I charge at him. Vala prepared a barrier in front of him. But I was behind him. Even front and back I took another slash his back where his right wing was coming from. But the wound appeared on the left side. Ah! Vala screamed out. Your eyesight and even the direction of the way you take damage is reversed as well. I chipped away a bit of the wing that was connected to his back and cut a bit of the back as well. Balance break, Vala gritted out. Vanishing dragon. Balance break. Albion's voice sounded out as Vala put on the scale mail. Do you think that's going to change anything? I calmly asked him. Vala charged at me with his increased speed. He attacked me from the front but quickly changed directions and attacked behind him. Right where I was. I did an upward slash. Vala pushed his hands down to block it with his gauntlets. No volley above. Albion warned him, but my sword was already at his shoulder. Swish! I cut off his arm. Ah! While Vala was screaming, I grabbed the sword of betrayal from my back and stabbed it in his gut. I kept pushing him down until I slammed him into the ground. The holy energy of the sword was making a mess inside him. His balance breaker broke apart. You shouldn't have attacked me. I raised Sakanade to cut him again. Wait. A similar voice interrupts me. Hey? Azazel. For fuck's sake. Do those sensor swords even work? Team Vala POV. A few minutes earlier. Vala got a deep gash on his torso. Vala. Team Vala was about to intervene. But Feldera appeared in front of them. Where do you think you are going? You seem to forget. You are the ones that attacked us. So unless you want me to intervene as well, I suggest you stay put. Feldera's draconic aura pressed down at them. All of them could take down Feldera. But it would take time. And if Feldera joined in the fight against Vala, he would most likely die before they could save him. Arthur, Baikao said seriously. Arthur nodded and took out Caliban, a sword that is said to be superior Excalibur. Good sword. But how useful will that holy energy be against a dragon? Feldera started to charge up. Lightning coursed through his body. That's enough. A loud voice stopped their fight. Everybody looked to the source. Azazel. Team Vala instantly recognized him. Feldera got even more serious. He stepped back and blocked Asia and Valeri from their view. Acting as a shield. So you are Azazel. What are you planning on doing here? Azazel just waved his hand and said casually, I'm here to stop your friend from killing my son. Don't worry. I won't attack him. He then turned to Vala's team. You idiots are also to blame for this. You should have stopped Vala. That stupid moron. He ignored my warnings and attacked him. Look at him now, he pointed at Vala as he was getting his ass kicked. Azazel clenched his hand when Vala's arm was cut off, but kept calm. Boom! Vala and Isaiah crashed into the ground. Wait. MCPOV. I told you, Azazel. I'll kill anyone that attacks me. I even warned him before he attacked. This is all on him. I put Sakanade's tip on Vala's forehead. One little push and he is dead. Azazel grimly nodded. I know. I warned him too. But I'm here to ask you to spare his life. I am willing to do an exchange. I stare him down. Exchange for Vala's life? I really want to kill the prick now. But Azazel has something I want. I want all the Vritra gears that you have and $10 billion. Oh, an Excalibur ruler. Everybody from their side just stood there with their jaws dropped. What? Arthur was outraged. Azazel looked like he swallowed a lemon. It's a fair price. After all, I could just rip out Albion out of him. And give him to one of mine. The divine dividing is worth a lot on its own. But Vala also has the blood of Lucifer flowing through his veins. He can possibly be the strongest white dragon emperor. This is fair and you know it. Oh, and if you don't mind your leader dying, you can reject the deal, Arthur, and remember you are the ones that attacked me. So I don't think it's fair that only Azazel pays the price for letting him live. Arthur looked at my blade and pointed at Vala's head. He started to curse out loud and a magic circle appeared. From it came out Excalibur ruler. He threw the ruler at me. I caught it easily. I will be coming back for that, he said in a snarl-like fashion. Deal. Azazel reluctantly nodded. Arthur already did his part. But TT was still a lot of money. I pull out a magic contract and start writing it. I sign it at the bottom, then I floated the contract over to Azazel, who quickly looked it over. I included that the money doesn't have to be paid out in bills or gold. Rare metals and gems are accepted as well. With a heavy heart, he signed as well. The contract split in two and we each got a copy. I threw him a piece of paper. That's my number, keep it to yourself. Call me when you are ready. I made both swords disappear. I grabbed Vala by his shirt and threw him at Azazel. And beat some sense into that moron. Vala's team quickly surrounded him. I saw La Fei, then it clicked to me. La Fei, I call her out. She jumped up in fright. Yes, she said nervously. Do you know someone named Meredith Ordenton? Hey! How do you know Meredith and what do you want with her? La Fei got super defensive. I heard she was a talented magician. I wanted to ask her to join my team. La Fei lowered her head and she looked like she was in deep thought. She was mumbling for a bit before nodding to herself. She called me a few days ago. Even though we are not on good terms. She got an offer from someone and wanted to know my opinion. If you are going to make her an offer as well, you'd better hurry up, and it had better be a good offer. With that, all of them left. Weird they didn't teleport away. Azazel. Just fucking great. Pinmu is going to skin me for this. She would hit me so hard that I would probably be in a coma for a month. Speaking of coma. Where's Dino? He should have gotten here by now. I asked the group of delinquents. La Fei was stabilizing Volley. Who's Dino? Bai Kao scratched his head. Meanwhile, Dino sleeping in a hotel room in Yub. He got tired from traveling and decided to have a nap. Number A/N. Volley underestimated MC a lot. He didn't even get a chance to use half dimension. He tried to touch MC first. Well, that didn't go as planned. Maybe this will humble him a bit. There will definitely be a rematch. One where there is a serious fight. Sauconade is really OP. Unless you can hold back all of your fighting instincts and fight in a mirrored way, you lose. Volley is ultimate class. Above Kokabeel but below Satan's. I think. That's without Juggernaut Drive. Chapter 37, Meredith Ordenton. I arrive in London. I left Veladra and Duke behind to watch over the girls. Volley attacking us means we need to move soon. If Kurika was able to find us, so can others. I have to meet with her before she accepts the offer by the Alliance from Hell. Since if she joins them, all that awaits her is a life as a brainwashed, possessed servant. It would be such a pity if such a talented person slipped through my fingers. Meredith POV. Sigh, what do I do? Do I accept their offer? I want to take revenge on those bastards, British royal family. But they bribed the members of Golden Dawn to kick me out. Now I'm all alone with no backing. I can't possibly take on the entire British royal family all by myself. At last La Fei left on her own terms. But the group that sent out the invitation sounds real shady. Sigh. Why can't things ever be simple? BZZZZ. A phone call? Not many people know my number. Wonder who it could be. I grab my phone. Unidentified number. That's weird. I answer the call. Hello. Meredith Ordenton. A young male voice asked. They know who I am. Yes. Who's asking? Good evening. I got this number from a friend of yours. La Fei Pendragon. She was quite worried about you. I'm currently on the lookout for talented people to join my team. La Fei said you had received an offer and had a hard time deciding on whether you should take it or not. So I want to give you an offer as well. I hope we can meet somewhere. The location and time can be chosen by you. What do you say? Another offer. And if Leify gave them my number? They can't be that bad. Hyde Park. Kalachi Cafe. In 1 hour. Excellent. I'll see you there. Beeb. Sigh, I hope I'm doing the right thing. He didn't tell me his name. Stupid. What the hell is wrong with me? I don't even know what he looks like. Meeting in the Hyde Park. I'm getting super nervous. I'm pretty sure this isn't a trap. La Fei wouldn't screw me over like that. But I'm meeting people I literally know nothing about. I was keeping a close watch on my surroundings. If anyone shady appeared, I'm teleporting away. Meredith Ordenton, a young masculine voice appeared in front of me. I turned to the voice only to find a young blonde man with red eyes smiling at me. How did he sneak up on me? I am Isaiah. A pleasure to meet you. MC POV. She is exactly as the original material described her. A beautiful girl with a foreign face, with a beautiful face and auburn hair braided with rope and blue eyes. She looks 1 or 2 years younger than me. So about 15 to 16. Meredith has low skill with attack or defense magic, but she's good at sealing magic and security magic. That will be quite useful. Warders are paid a lot. And we will need her if we want our future home to be protected. Because my ward swords are apparently useless. I need to study more. And that holy aura coming off of her. Alpheka Tyrant, one of the 5 new Longinus. While the original had the ability to be able to attack with a nail-like object made of holy aura, and also being able to brainwash opponents by making a group of people listen to a conversation for several minutes with a certain fixed keyword inserted in it, it was only limited to human beings. Meredith's Alpheka Tyrant retains the ability to attack with nail-like objects made of holy aura, and she can rewrite the concepts of those who were struck by the nail made of holy aura, which can also affect sacred gear users, which includes even other Longinus possessors, as demonstrated when Meredith rewrote Issei Hyudu's concepts to remove his erotic nature and love for female breasts. Maybe I should still let her do that. For the sake of all men. Issei is dragging our reputation down to the ground. That stupid Oppai Dragon show was seen by millions. Well, Mr. Isaiah. You said you had an offer for me. And how did you meet La Fei anyway? Last I heard was she joined some group with her brother, Meredith said calmly while sipping on her coffee. But she was still wary of me. Good. Some common sense will help her out in the future. People seriously lack that in this world. Well, I actually met La Fei yesterday. She joined the White Dragon Emperor's team and they attacked me, I reply in the same calm tone, causing Meredith's jaw to drop. They attacked you? And you are okay? Then her face paled a bit. La Fei is fine. Only the Hakuriutii was injured. I was a little smug about that. I like Hakuriutii better. White Dragon Emperor is a mouthful to say or read DxD. But I already established that I am a very strong person to Meredith. Meaning I can protect her and help her out with her goals. Amazing. Meredith caught her slip and blushed for a second before pushing the blush down. Ahem. And what is your offer? Meredith tried to cover up her previous slip by pushing the subject forward. I want to invite you to my team. I'm looking for talented individuals that will help each other out. My team is mostly comprised out of outcasts. Myself included. We are planning to go around the world. Experiencing different countries, and different cultures. And see what life has to offer. And we find a place we all like. We can settle down and keep enjoying our lives. None can survive in this world alone. People will always come after you for your strength or talent. So I decided to form a group of like-minded individuals. People who want freedom, but know that doing it alone will get them killed. Meredith was carefully listening to my words. I could tell she liked what we were planning. But her revenge was more important to her than that. What do you want to do, Meredith? I asked her gently. She was a bit taken back by my question. I want revenge. Meredith gritted out. On who? My ex-family. She stared right in my eyes. The British royal family? They have a very strong backing. Do you think you can do it? I raise an eyebrow. That's why I'm looking to join strong groups. Meredith was getting angry. Why are you looking for revenge? Meredith's aura exploded. Because I was thrown out. Even with royal blood flowing in my veins, I didn't become a member of royalty. It's royalty, you understand? Even in this world, royalty is a prominent thing, a chosen human being. Why only me? Why did I have to experience something like this? The others, the children of different mothers, were royalty by birth. Meredith screamed out. I'm glad I put a muffling and illusion array as soon as I arrived. But I need to stop her. Royalty means absolutely shit. In this world only power matters. If you are strong, then entire factions will mean nothing to you. You aren't looking for revenge because you didn't become royalty. You are looking for revenge because you were abandoned and that deeply hurt you. Meredith looked like someone slapped her. She kept opening and closing her mouth but the words didn't come out. What were you planning on doing? Killing them all? She had nothing to reply to that. If you don't want to kill them, then that means you don't hate them enough. You probably want them to suffer, and feel sorry for abandoning you, for still continuing to mess with your life and denying you happiness. Meredith nodded tearfully. Everything put in front of her like this is like someone stabbing her heart. Probably. Then there is no need to do it now. Take your time. Get stronger. Experience life. Be happy. Do what you wanted to do before they interfered. Let them sit thinking they are safe. And when the right time comes, take everything they hold dear. Their money. Their nobility. Their prestige. Reduce them to homeless beggars. Meredith sat there with tears streaming down her eyes. The British royal family. Centuries of prestige and honor. Reduced to homeless beggars. I really like the sound of that. You are right. I don't want them dead. Death is too kind. I want them to suffer. But looking back on this year, as soon as I was kicked out of Golden Dawn by their manipulations, I only thought about revenge. I was miserable for a whole year. I don't think I even stopped to go out on a cup of coffee like this. She looked down at her hands, holding the coffee cup. Realization struck her. That if she kept going as he was doing right now, she would be miserable for years to come. When the time comes, will you help me take revenge? She asked in a hopeful tone. As if the notion of someone attacking the nation for her was impossible. I just grin at her. Yep, we will. Our group has a lot of talented and powerful individuals. We will be constantly targeted. That's why it's important to stick together. I don't care about age, race, or any of those things. I only want loyalty to the group. When times are rough, I want us to stick together and help each other out. Think you can do that, Meredith? I ask in a serious tone. Please tell me I didn't screw up too much. Yes, I can. I accept your offer, Meredith said with confidence. Great. Welcome to the team. Grab your stuff. Because as soon as we group up we start traveling. Meredith nodded. I need like an hour. Yeah, an hour sounds good. Meet up here again. I'm fine with that, I nod at her. Meredith teleported away to grab her things. Another talented individual joins the team. I'm pretty good at this. MC's apartment. It's been an hour since I brought Meredith. And surprisingly the girls really hit it off. And I mean hit it off. They are doing their hair now together. Women. I will never completely understand their thoughts. It was getting time to start getting ready to travel. But I don't want to break their bonding. Ding. A fallen coming straight at us. Guys, we have a guest. We will have to hold off on the celebration, I call out. They each got ready for an attack. He doesn't seem to have any bad intentions. Did Azazel already gather all the stuff? Feldera was confused. No, Azazel would have called me. Knock knock. I opened the door. A young skinny man with silver hair stood there. On second look one of his bangs was purple. Yes. I asked him. He just yawned. Totally relaxed. Hey. I'm Dino. You're that guy, right? Kiba or Isaiah? I felt a tick mark forming. What is this fallen doing here? He was low ultimate. Pretty strong for a fallen. Why did Azazel send him here? Yes, that's me. Did Azazel send you here? I asked carefully. My old man? Nah. I was lazing around but Grigori got too loud. Especially with Kakabil always running his mouth about war. So I ditched Grigori. Can I come crash with you guys? You look like fun. He scratched the back of his head while yawning again. Is this dude for real? And he is Azazel's son? You know I can see it. That lazy smile and his overall aura. You know I can't trust you just on that, right? Especially after the Hakuria brat attacked me. Ovala was here? Considering you are standing without an injury, I'm guessing he lost, Dino said with a small smirk. I cut off his arm, and stabbed him in the gut. Made a deal with your dad to let him live. I deadpan at him. Nice, Dino gave me a thumbs up. Okay. I'll give him a shot. Sword birth. Sword of truth. A small short sword appeared in my hand. It had a green handle and some purple inscriptions on the blade. This is the sword of truth. If somebody is telling a lie and is guilty, the sword will cut him. If he is telling the truth and is innocent, the sword will shatter harmlessly. I point the sword toward him. Cool, Dino said in awe as he approached the sword. Man, this would be so useful to Grigori. Do you know the amount of spies lurking around that place? So you are going to test me with this? I'm cool with that. I left Grigori to relax and find interesting places to chill at. The dude has some balls of steel, I'll give him that. Or he is just a natural airhead. Okay. Since you are a fallen, this shouldn't even kill you anyway. It will probably leave a deep gash if you are lying, not that it matters. If he is lying, I'm killing him. I swing my sword at him. Crack, boom. The sword cracked apart and exploded into countless tiny shards. Awesome. Can I go and chill inside now? Dino smiled lazily. Welcome to the team, Dino. I smile at him as I let him walk inside. Things are going great. 2 people in one day. Both are amazing talents. Lady Luck is on my side. For now. Chapter 38, Grim Reapers. Well, Dino was certainly a surprise. This team is coming along quite nicely. First of all, there is me. A devil that has just entered high ultimate class. Together with my sword birth, I can take on high to peak ultimate. Transcended class is still out of my league. For now. Feldera is peak high class. He is about to break into ultimate anytime now. He needs a good fight to break through, which I will provide later. Dino is low ultimate. But he can take on mid-ultimate class. Meredith knows attack and defense spells. But they aren't her forte. Against devils, she can take on high class easily due to her sacred gear. Others? Probably low high class is her maximum. Valerie is strong. But she has no fighting experience. And her gear messes with her mind. That's something I gotta fix. Asia is a non-combatant. She isn't even low level at the moment. But having an extra medic will come in handy. Double the healing power. I gave everyone some of my swords. Tracking swords. Everyone will know each other's location. They will alert everyone if one of us is in danger. Protection swords for Asia, Valerie, and Meredith. They have a hidden feature. Loyalty test. The sword can tell how loyal someone is to me and if they are thinking of betraying me. It doesn't control their minds in any way. That can be spotted. It just periodically checks for traitors. I'm not dumb enough to think other factions won't try and plant a traitor. Dino was a fluke. The lazy ass ran away, so he isn't included in Grigori operations. Isaiah. These sword trinkets are so pretty. Asia beams happily as she wore the necklace with a sword trinket. Valerie just played around with it with her fingers. She barely ate yesterday. Fuck. Right. Damn fur. I'm stupid. Valerie, do you need blood? I'm actually a moron for not thinking of this earlier. I doubt they gave her blood. Even if they did, it was the bare minimum. Probably didn't want her to get any stronger. Valerie looked shocked. I asked but shook her head slightly. I can do without it. Which wasn't a no. It means she can bear the thrust. Like she has been doing for who knows how long. I go to the couch and sit down next to her. Next time you feel the thirst, just tell me. You are not back at the castle. I take care of my own. I use my finger and make a small slash on my wrist. Blood slowly started to bleed out. I raised my wrist to her. Valerie's eyes started to dilate. Her breathing grew harder. And her face was a bit flushed. Yep. She hasn't had blood in quite a while. Like a dehydrated man had just found water. I didn't even wait for Git to make a choice. I put my wrist in her mouth. She instinctively bit in and started to drink my blood. Second by second. I could see she was getting better. Her shoulders relaxed. Her complexion got better. I'm an idiot for not noticing. She is a Damir just like Gasper. She doesn't have pale dead skin like vampires. The only reason she did was because she was malnourished. They gave her just enough so that she would have fuel for her sacred gear. Pop. Hoo. Her lips left my wrist with a small pop. Her face was flushed and she had a satisfied expression on her face. Do you feel better? My words snapped her out of her daze. She quickly blushed all the way to her ears and looked down at her hands. Avoiding my eyes. She then realized my question and nodded slightly. She was very cute. Especially since she was older than me. I see. If you feel the thirst again, just call me. I patted her head and left. She is adorable. Ding. My swords picked up on something. I got you now. I rushed outside and took to the sky. Obviously, just regular sensor swords to pick up the supernatural weren't working. So I made swords that pick up distorted space. So that means even if someone is invisible, the swords will still pick up on them as they move through the ground or air. Hiding your aura won't work anymore. Kurika and Azazel made me even more paranoid. My first destination is Kyoto, so I can learn Senjutsu. There they are. Balance Breaker. Bankai. Senbonzakura Cage Yoshi. Third POV. So this is where that devil is hiding, one of the hooded figures whispered quietly. He has been gathering allies at an alarming rate. He even got the girl we sent an invitation to. Hades-sama orders were to observe only. So we just keep watch and make our report later. No. They are about to leave for Kyoto. The other teams will handle it. Let's leave. Whoosh. Countless sakura blossoms surrounded them. They were trapped in a sphere made out of them. What? Interesting. Even this close to you, yet I can still not sense your existence. But if you were strong, you wouldn't have been caught by a simple trap like this. Making you are weak in strength and are using some sort of artifact. Isaiah opened up a small arch for himself in the Sakura sphere. The Grim Reapers looked at each other and nodded. They both took out their SCYTHS. That's better. Killing intent. I can't tell where it's from, but I know you want to attack me now. Good luck with that. Strands of Sakura started to leave the sphere. They attacked from all directions, basically forming a grinder inside the sphere. The Sakura were automatically avoiding Isaiah. Imagine that they got stuck inside of a pink sharp rays nan XD. Fuck this. Let's disperse out. One of the Grim Reapers yelled out. He tried to leave using a teleportation method unique to Grim Reapers. Why won't it work? The other yelled out as he used his scythe to defend himself against the Sakura. Going somewhere? I already locked the space inside this sphere. And so kind of you to hit away the Sakura, showing where you are. Isaiah smiled, but his eyes were colder than the depths of Tartarus. You spied on me and my team. Intending to do harm upon us. You brought this to yourselves. Sword birth. Kyoka Suijutsu. Since he is already in balance breaker. Using two Zanpakuta started to drain Isaiah's energy levels. But the fight was already over. The moment they were under the illusion of Kyoka Suijutsu, he released Senbonzakura. But the Grim Reapers were still under the illusion that they were inside the Sakura sphere. They both deactivated their artifacts. Showing two cloaked figures waving around SCYTHS. You could tell by the shape of their heads, they were wearing something underneath the cloak. Grim Reapers. And based on the invisibility and untraceability they showed, they must be wearing replicas of Hades' cap/helmet. Isaiah mused to himself. They definitely have a self-destruct system inside them. Otherwise, Hades would be dead already if he made such a rookie mistake. There is no way to get the cap. Might as well go all in for his memories. Isaiah raised his hand and formed a memory sword. He guided one of the Grim Reapers a bit further away and made a strong barrier. I stab one of them in the head and quickly dash off. Just in time for the explosion to erupt. The Grim Reaper was disintegrated. Nothing remained of him. The memory sword was somewhat charred and it had cracks in it. But it did its function. Not let's see what he knew. I start to read through his memories contained in the sword. He got a mission to observe me after my raiding game. Hades has been getting reckless. Lots of observation missions. This is interesting. Medusa has respawned in her weakened form and is currently being hunted by Perseus's descendants. For sport. That might be interesting to check out. But going to Greece without raising the strength of my group will be suicidal. But if I play my hands right, I might get a strong teammate out of it. Whatever. I'll go read the memories of the other one and go home. We need to start packing for Kyoto. Chapter 39, Kyoto and Demon Fox. So this is Kyoto. Gotta say. It's very nice. Kyoto is home to roughly 1/4 of Japan's national treasures, countless shrines and temples, and 17 sites recognized as World Heritage Sites. And that's just the human side. The supernatural side will know that Kyoto is split between the East and West yokai factions, who are more or less in a cold war with each other. Yasaka is stronger. But it comes with pros and cons. She is stronger because she is connected to the ley lines under Kyoto. So when it comes down to a fight, she can drain the energy to become high ultimate class. But since she is connected to Kyoto, she can't leave. Like ever. Well, that's not true. She can leave. After disconnecting from the Leylands. Which takes a while to disconnect and even longer to reconnect to them. During that time she, and by that, her faction will be left vulnerable. Asia and Meredith looked at the city with awe in their faces. It's so pretty. We arrived during the day. The colors of the trees and the buildings formed a very visually appealing scene. Both of them haven't been to Kyoto, so this is all very new. Actually, I haven't been here as well. I can literally feel the age of this place. The air itself is different. Saturated with nature energy for millennia. Cool Dino smiled lazily as he enjoyed the view. Food. Feldera's eyes shined. There ain't a lot of variety when it comes to food in Dragon Mountain. I chuckled at their antics. Let's go. Daytime is burning. We first headed to the food stands. I bring out money from my spatial storage and hand it out to the others. Grab anything you like. Actually, get extras so the others can try. We will meet each other again in 15 minutes. Don't worry about the money. After all, Dino's dad owes me billions. Dino grinned at that again. Nice. He was strangely happy about Azazel losing money. Dino's mind that will teach you to wake me up with ice water, shitty old man. 10 minutes later. I bought tons of food, now I'm getting the meat skewers. I'll take 50 please. I put down the money and the man at the stand looked at me with wide eyes. Right away sir. He says in an excited voice. I felt someone reach for one of the bags on the table. I quickly reach out and grab the hand. It's tiny. Hey. A childish voice whined. I raise my arm pulling the little thief in the air. It was a young girl around 11 or 12 dressed in a Maiko outfit. She had golden, blonde hair tied in a ponytail with matching golden eyes. She laughed awkwardly. Ah ha ha ha. Hello. I should throw you in the pond. I deadpan at the little girl. No. Wait. Please don't throw me. I'm sorry. It was just a little prank. The girl started to panic. Are you really Yasaka's kid? I would have thought the princess of Kyoto would have better manners. I shook my head and sighed in disappointment. The act was fake of course. Hey. You know who I am? Then what are you waiting for? Let me go. You are afraid of my mom aren't you? Kanu said in a smug Aja tone. I just flicked her on the forehead. Ow. What was that for? Kanu held her forehead as she started to tear up. That was for you being an idiot. And now for your punishment. I grinned evilly at her. Kanu gulped in fear. Tears were just about to fall from her eyes. 5 minutes later. Save me! Kanu screamed out loud. Aw, she is so cute. Meredith was rubbing her cheek with Kanu's. She really is. Asia was petting her fluffy tails. While Valerie was poking Kanu's other cheek and petting her animal ears with a small smile on her face. Me and Feldera were laughing at her desperate expression. Like a little kid trying to run away from her overbearing aunts at a family gathering. I prefer the pond. Throw me in the pond. Kanu cried out. Ha 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 ha. Me and Feldera were practically crying from laughing too hard. Okay girls, you had your fun. Let go of the chibi. I wipe a tear from my eye. Che. Spoil sport. Meredith clicked her tongue as she reluctantly let go of Kanu, who jumped away. Asia and Valerie pouted at her. So kid, where are your guards? I doubt the princess of Kyoto will be left all alone. I ditched them. They are probably panicking and looking all over the city for me. Kanu looked a bit smug. You were bored and lonely, weren't you? I said in a knowing tone. Yeah, no. I wasn't. Kanu stomped the ground, trying to cover up her little slip. I smiled warily and threw her a box of meat skewers. She smiled when she caught it but then looked at me with a confused expression. For all the teasing the girls did. It's the least I can do for a new friend. I grinned at her, making her sniff and turn her head away. But I saw the small smile on her face when I said friend. A minute later she started to munch on them with a happy expression on her face. Hey kid! Do you know where we can find the demon fox? Kanu's ears perked up. It's Kanu and not kid. Why do you want to know anyway? To invite him in your peerage? It's better to forget it. He is very violent. And kills a lot of the devils that come to ask or force him into a peerage. Same with other factions that ask him. Kanu grimaces a bit. Well, I have no peerage. These guys are my friends. And we are interested in meeting the demon fox. Wonder what could make a child grimace like that. She saw my expression and awkwardly shuffled her feet. 9-tailed foxes are only born in my bloodline. But he isn't even a cousin to us. So when he was born everybody celebrated the birth of a new bloodline. But when they found out it was just a weird mutation. And that he was even weaker than normal yokai. Everybody shunned him. Eventually, he was driven out of Kyoto. I was really young then. I just heard this from the servants at the castle. Kanu looked down sadly. Why is he called the demon fox then? Asia asked innocently. You know about senjutsu, right? Kanu asked rhetorically. I nod, and so do the rest. Well, when you take in nature energy you take in both the good and the bad. So it takes a while to filter out the bad stuff. He takes both in, directly. Doing so is extremely risky and there is a high chance of going insane. We don't exactly know how he does it or why he is still alive. He attacks any living thing that gets near him. He lives on Kukuru Mountain. North from here, Kanu explained slowly. And I figure he holds a grudge against the yokai. Especially Yasaka. Since she didn't help him. Interesting, I mumbled. Kanu-sama. A bunch of Tengu flew over us. Ev. Fun is over, Kanu pouted. Kanu-sama. Did these people hurt you? Another one started to pat Kanu in panic, looking for injuries. We started to laugh at her cramped expression. We started to laugh at Kanu. The Tengu didn't stop talking, so Kanu couldn't get a word in to explain herself. Our laughter made her even angrier. You bastards! You are under arrest. We will take you directly to Yasaka-sama. She will pass judgment. Thunk. A Geta sandal hit the Tengu on the back of the head. Kanu's arm was stretched out in a throwing position. Her face was red with anger and shame. You idiots! Stop embarrassing me in front of my new friends! Her shout made the guards freeze in place. Ha ha ha! It was a pleasure meeting you, kid. We'll see each other around. I stood up and grabbed the sleeping Dino. Zzz. Bye. Zzz. See ya, Chibisky. Feldera said with a loud voice, pipsqueak. Valerie had a sad smile on her face but waved at Kanu. Bye, Kanu-chan. Take care. Asia waved her hand. Kanu. I'll miss you, Meredith cried out. Before she started to rummage in her bags. Here, loads of sweets and snacks. And my number. If you ever get lonely, just call us. Me and the girls will keep you company. Meredith patted her head. Totally ignoring the stunned Tengu. Really? Kanu's eyes shined. Yep. Of course. Asia clapped her hands together. Omu. Valerie nodded her head. Thank you. Bye. Kanu waved us off with happy tears streaming down her face. Meredith turned to Feldera. Hey, all this talk about bloodlines reminded me of something. Wasn't your dad reincarnated as a devil? So are you half. Or well, quarter devil. Now that she mentioned it. I'm curious as well. Nope. Dragon blood is stronger and more stubborn than devils. I'm a pure blood dragon. Even if Dad is a devil, he isn't a full devil. He made a deal with Mephisto to get land in the underworld and make a safe haven for dragons. He was turned. But not fully. I'd say he is 30% devil. But this is just a guess. Feldera says as he keeps munching on the meat skewers. Meredith just lets out an ah and goes back to her pastries. I want some coffee. Starbucks. Meredith convinced Asia to come check it out. Asia was really taking see what life has to offer seriously. Ever since we got here she has been trying out different foods and drinks. Well, all of us have been doing the same thing. I have got enough money for now and Azazel owes me billions. We are probably never going to run out of money for food. Well, what do you think, Isa? I asked the blonde ex-nun. She was wearing some jeans with a white hoodie and light blue t-shirt underneath. She had her hair in a ponytail. The look suited her. She was relaxed. It's great. I never knew so many types of coffee existed. Asia beamed. Neither did I. This is really ridiculous. Feldera was sipping on his latte. He ordered the biggest one they had. Valerie isn't a fan of coffee. So she was sipping on some red wine I poured into a coffee cup. Coffee order for Mr. Amira. I listened to the cashier out of pure curiosity. Who names their child Amira? A deep male voice spoke up. It's Emery's. 3RD-POV. It's Emery's. Asterisk PFFFFFFFF asterisk. Isaiah and Meredith spat out their drinks. Cough cough cough. Isaiah's head snapped so fast to the counter that it surprised the others that his neck is not broken. There he saw a silver-haired handsome man. Paying for his coffee. He was completely human. No mana at all. Isaiah looked at him with his jaw dropped. What do you want, kid? Emery's looked at Isaiah with a raised eyebrow. Hey, who are you calling a kid? Feldera stood up. But Isaiah quickly raised his hand, stopping him in place. Relax. We are in the presence of greatness. I never expected to see the legendary Merlin here. Isaiah smiled at him, but the man didn't even react. Merlin? You must have me confused with someone else. Emery's waved his hand at the group and was preparing to leave. I doubt it. Who else in their right mind would name their kid Emery's? Since the father or grandfather's name becomes the surname of the later generations. Hey! What's wrong with Emery's? It's a perfectly respectable name. The man got offended and there was a slight mana spark that appeared in his body for a split second. But I noticed it and let out a big grin. Seeing my grin, Emery slumped and sighed. How did you know it was me? A handsome silver-haired man with no mana or any actual power. Yeah, right. You are basically too good looking for a normal human. I deadpan at the man. This is the legendary Merlin? Ah. So that's why my cover keeps getting blown every once in a while. Merlin nodded to himself. Are you sure you are Merlin? I say with some doubt. Huh? You are doubting me, devil brat? I was studying the secrets of magic while your human ancestor's ancestor was still in his diapers. Damn, you are old, was Dino's comeback to him, making his eyebrow twitch. He was over 1,000 years old after all. Hey old man! Is being ageless for a human possible? I'm asking for these two girls. I tilt my head to Asia and Meredith. Merlin just grins head. It's possible. If you are willing to work for it. Thanks, I give a nod to him. That's all I need to know. He won't say anything beyond that. He owes us nothing after all. Well, goodbye. He waved at us. Wait. Meredith rose to her feet. What? Merlin said in an annoying voice. Meredith did a deep bow. Thank you very much for giving humanity magic. You are very welcome. Merlin was actually surprised by this, and gave Meredith a small smile. Before turning around and leaving the shop. I just noticed that the other people in the shop started to move again. Did he freeze everybody in the shop? With his mana pool being totally hidden and suppressed. He froze everyone in place without me even noticing a thing. No, I just noticed a small spark. I thought it was a mistake. He froze time and all I felt was a spark? Damn. The old man was on another freaking level. I could die happy right now. Meredith had small tears forming in her eyes. What about your family? I poke fun at her. They can go choke on a dick. My revenge for them can't even compare to me meeting the legendary Merlin. Ah. I didn't ask for an autograph. Meredith dashed out of the shop. Mr. Emery's. Wait. The rest of us looked at each other before erupting into laughter. Yet. Traveling with friends was the right call. Chapter 40, Demon Fox. Sadly no chap tomorrow. Today is my birthday. So people coming over. Kids screaming, and all that. Yay me. If you don't know by now, I'm an introvert, like most of you probably. I'd rather have peace and quiet, so I can enjoy reading or writing. My birthday also doesn't really matter to me. It's just another day for me. Sometimes I wonder if I should just disappear somewhere on my birthday and spend it in silence. Anyway, it is what it is. I don't have any time to write. Kukuru Mountain. This place is weird, Feldera said uneasily. He was keeping a close watch on the surroundings. I was doing the same. It just feels wrong here. Even the usually lazy Dino was on full alert. This place sure is creepy, Meredith mumbled. Creepy, Valerie nodded. Very creepy. Asia was sticking close to both girls. They all linked hands together. The nature energy in this place was wrong. The entire mountain screamed from evil energy. As far as I know. This is not the method to practice senjutsu. As far as I know. What the hell is this guy doing? After a few minutes of walking, we arrive at a clearing. A young man was sitting cross-legged on a boulder. He had long dark reddish-orange hair that went all the way to his back. He had 3 deep whisker marks on each cheek. Leave. He only spoke one word. But it echoed across the forest we were in. Interesting. So you are the demon fox. Looks like the rumors had some truth to them after all. I won't join your peerage, devil. So leave if you value your insignificant life. He said with a bit of force in his voice. I don't have a peerage. I smile at him, making him open his eyes. This is my team. Asia. Meredith. Valerie. Dino. Feldera and me as the leader, Isaiah. Hi. Asia shyly waved. Hello. Meredith smiled. Valerie just gave a small nod. Sup. Dino just raised his hand as he yawned. Feldera kept quiet while scratching his head. Something was bothering him. We gathered together to explore the world. Achieving our own goals along the process and defending ourselves if we are attacked. I came here because I was curious. If I liked you, I would have invited you. At least that's what I planned before coming here. But man. You are in some deep shit, my friend. How about you cancel that illusion? As soon as I said illusion, Feldera yelled out, that's it. That's what has been bothering me. There is a big ass illusion here. Took you a while. The air around us shook. The person on the boulder disappeared. Behind him a huge 9-tailed fox appeared, laying on the ground. He had orange-red fur, but a lot of blackish-red aura was coming out from him. The jaws of everyone on my team dropped. But I had a different reaction. Damn, it's worse than I thought. He is bigger than me in my dragon form, Feldera said while he picked up his jaw. So what's your name, big guy? Dino said casually. Kurama. What do you want? He asked us calmly. As a senjutsu practitioner, he can sense out intent and lies. We have no intention of fighting or harming him. So he was more chill with us. Well, at first I wanted to ask you to teach me senjutsu. But considering your situation, I'd say you are not in the best state to teach. I heard you practice both the good and the bad parts of senjutsu. But isn't this you just bearing the pain and barely holding on to your sanity? I say incuriously. Kurama just shrugs his shoulders in his fox form. Desperate times call for desperate choices. It was this or die. That part I can understand. I would probably do the same thing. If I'm understanding this right, you are trying to remove all of the negative energy in your body, which practically makes up for half your strength, by slowly dispersing it in the surroundings and refilling your reserves with filtered clean nature energy. Since he took both good and bad, if he removes the bad, he loses half his power. So he has to remove the evil energy while adding in more normal nature energy. Yes. But doing so is pretty much impossible. It is possible if I just release all of the malevolent energy at once. But that would result in my strength weakening. My enemies won't let an opportunity like that pass by, Kurama says in a resolved tone. He plans to spend decades here, just slowly releasing tiny parts of evil energy and refining it with clean nature energy. The problem is multitasking. He has to keep most of his focus on not letting the evil energy slip and wreak havoc inside him. Then he has to focus on getting new nature chakra, which contains normal nature chakra and corrupted chakra. I feel like chakra is better than saying nature energy. Then he has to filter out the corrupted chakra, then carefully and slowly disperse the corrupted chakra from his system, and replace it with normal nature chakra. The reason he isn't in his human form is because he can't. Taking a human form takes a good amount of focus and control over your own power. His power is unstable as hell. Try this out. I make 2 big-ass swords and throw them at him. The size doesn't matter. It's the effects that swords have. Strands of hair burst from his tail like tendrils and wrapped around the handle of the swords. Instantly the effect started. I know because his eyes widened from surprise. Those were just basic swords with calming and purification concepts. They should help out with clearing all the negative chakra. If you agree to join my team, I'll help you get rid of all that negative chakra. I honestly don't know what he will do. He doesn't necessarily need me. He will succeed, it's only a matter of time. It just depends on whether he has the patience to wait. Silence stretched out. Kurama said nothing as he was testing out the effects of the swords. He then stood up and looked down at me from above. I will follow you. But only if you beat me in a fight. There is no way I'm following someone who is weaker than me. Deal. I grin at the giant fox. Another one joins the crazy train.
Thanks for listening.